welcome.
Yes.
Sheila, so good to see you.
Thank you.
Namaste, Sheila ma'am.
Namaste.
Welcome.
Yes.
This is the greatest opportunity of virtual platform.
Yes.
Hey everyone, Prabha here.
Hello.
So nice to see you, Prabhaji.
Namaste, Prabha ma'am.
Good afternoon,
All the
Prabha
best,
ma'am.
Prabha ma'am.
Prabha, good afternoon. Welcome.
Hello, Prabhaji. Welcome.
हाँ, देखिए
Welcome,
सब
Prabha
लोग
ma'am.
साथ साथ
Welcome,
बच्ची हैं.
Yes. Yes.
Hi Pupali, good to see you.
Hi,
Prabhaji.
Our
Hello,
beautiful-
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Hello,
Hello.
Vasudha. This is Lalita from Calcutta.
Hi,
Good evening, everyone.
Lalita ma'am,
Hi,
welcome.
Alpana.
Good evening.
Lalita ma'am,
evening,
Vasudha
everyone.
ma'am has joined.
Yes, I'm here.
Lalita ji, namaste. Good evening.
Welcome.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good evening.
Our host must be one of
Pranam,
the
Prabhaji.
ladies. They talk
District
so much.
Regina. District Chennai.
Yes.
Chief Guest, Chief
We
Guest.
are already 75.
Vasudha ma'am has joined.
I've joined.
Hello, Vasudha ji.
Hello,
Good evening.
Vasudha.
Good evening. Good
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Prabha ma'am was also there. Yeah.
Vasudha Chief Guest. District Chennai. Regina. District 324. District Chennai. DC 324. DC 329.
Good evening, Vasudha ji.
Namaste,
Vasudha, are you there? Sumana?
Namaste, Vasudha ji.
Vasudha ji, good evening, everyone.
Oh. Sumana joined
Prabha Raghunandan.
and Sumita Som also.
Sumita has joined? Okay. And Sumana?
and Sumana, please check out the
join,
both of
join.
them.
Okay.
Prabha, where are you? Prabha, Raghunandan.
Prabha is there. I saw her.
Prabhaji, namaste.
Prabha, I'm here,
I'm here,
Lalita.
Lalita ji. Good evening.
Good
Good evening,
evening.
Vasudha ma'am.
Good
Lalita ji and
Good
Shunanda
evening,
di, good
Vasudha.
evening.
I can't
Good
see
evening,
anyone.
Prabha ma'am.
Good evening,
Oh,
Prabha.
Shunanda di, I can't spot her. Okay. Acha. Yeah, Shunanda di has joined. Okay. Welcome, Shunanda di.
Kumkum di, good evening.
Good evening, Prabha. Hello, everybody.
We can start.
Welcome 324.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please do.
Prabhati, Anmona ba?
Tell me, Rina.
Start now. Or we can start.
We can start.
Yes.
Have you found Sumona and Sumita?
Sumana has come, I think. Sumona? Sumona?
Yes,
Yeah. Okay. And Sumita? Sumita?
Sumita di to.
No, na? Okay, please call someone.
You give me the green
Yes, yes.
signal. I'm going to start.
Yes, Connie.
Can start, I think. No, Anmona ba?
Okay.
Let's start.
Let's start. Okay. Then.
Ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone, and warm inaugural greetings from all of us. Today, we have gathered here on this virtual platform for a multi-district webinar, and IWD 324, IWD 325, and IWD 329. We have collaborated for this multi-district webinar on a very important issue. And we have named it as Rananjay. Rananjay means the victorious. So gradually when we proceed with the seminar, you will come to realize why we have named this at Rananjay. I extend hearty welcome to Honorable Association President Vasudha Chandrasur Ma'am, Honorary Association Secretary and AC Member Sumita Som, all the district chairmen of these 3 collaborating districts, the DEC members from all the 3 districts, our invited speakers, Dr. Sangeeta Datta, past Association President Prabha Raghunandanji, and Dr. Ruchi Gupta. I also extend hearty welcome to all the past district chairmen from all these 3 districts, club presidents and EC members, and also the different members from different clubs joining this webinar on virtual platform. Hearty welcome to all the guests and dignitaries. To start with the proceedings of today, we are going to exchange the caller, but virtually. We all understand that. May I request Honorary Association Secretary Sumita Som to put the caller virtually on Honorable Association President Vasudha Chandrasur Ma'am. Sumita, are you there? Sumita? If she is not there, Vasudha ji will have to take the trouble of wearing it herself. Vasudha ji?
Yes, I was muted.
Please put the caller. I have not
Because
found
the installation is so nearby, so for mending and putting my name now, I have already couriered it to Mohan Plastics, which will reach to her. You have to work on that also, no? That day.
Okay, fine.
So I have sent it, but this.
Okay, fine. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Now I request District Secretary of Innerville District 3 to 4 to put the caller virtually on District Chairman of IWD 3 to 4, Rina Hussain Majumdar.
It's my proud privilege and honor to put the caller to our district chairman, Rina Hussain Majumdar, virtually. So I present the caller virtually to Rina Hussain Majumdar.
Thank you, Sumana. May I request the District Secretary of Innerville District 3 to 5, Dr. Rita Jha, to put the caller virtually on Dr. Sheila Rajan.
I have put the caller on behalf of Sumana. Yes.
Thank you, Rita ji. Now, may I request Shampa Banerjee to put the caller virtually on District Chairman of Innerville District 3 to 9, Anita Ghosh.
I don't think she's here, so I'll put the
So
caller.
please put the caller yourself. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, may I request District Secretary, Innerville District 3 to 4 to go for the Innerville prayer. And while the prayer will be read out by her, I request all present here to raise your right hand.
Instill in us, O Lord, the true meaning of friendship. Never let us forget that we are all thy children, notwithstanding the differences in our culture and creed. Endow us with a desire to serve our fellow men whenever or whenever the need for service arises. Help us to be ready to serve, endeavoring to make our badge of Innerville worthwhile, ensuring that we have not lived in vain.
Thank you, Simona. To mark the auspicious beginning of this multi-district webinar, Rananjay, we have an invocation in the form of a video. I request our Zoom host kindly to play the video.
Om Namah Shivaya. Rim tanana 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 tanana. Om Namah Shivaya. Rim tanana 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 tanana. Om Namah Shivaya. विभाति भूधर सुता देव पगा मस्तके भाले बाल विधुर गले गरलन यस्सोरसी व्यालराट सोऽयं भूति विभूषणः सुरवरः सर्वाधिपः सर्वदा जटाकविगलज्जलत्प्रवाहपावितस्थले गले बलम्बितं भुजङ्गतुङ्गमालिकम् डमड्डमड्डमड्डमड्निनादमड्डमर्वयम् चकार चन्दताण्डवं तनोतु नः शिवः शिवं चकार चन्दताण्डवं तनोतु नः शिवः शिवं चकार चन्दताण्डवं तनोतु नः शिवः शिवम् ॐ नमः शिवाय। कमरुहर करवाजे प्रवाहपावितस्थले गले बलम्बितं भुजङ्गतुङ्गमालिकम् डमड्डमड्डमड्डमड्निनादवड्डमर्वयम् चकार चन्दताण्डवं तनोतु नः शिवः शिवम् चकार चन्दताण्डवं तनोतु नः शिवः शिवम् शिवं 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 शिवं
The tone and the atmosphere for Rananjay of being victorious, it has rightly been said by this invocation dance video. Before proceeding to the next part of the agenda, I'd like to acknowledge the gracious presence of Dr. Lalita Seth. Just now I have seen her name in the chat box. Ma'am, welcome to our district, Innerville District 324. You have a long connection and beautiful memory to be associated with this district. Welcome to Dr. Lalita Seth, ma'am. Now, may I invite our district chairman of Innerville District 324, Rina Hussain Majumdar, to call this multi-district webinar to order.
Yes. I call today's virtual multi-district webinar Rananjay to order.
Thank you, Rina Hussain Majumdar. When we organize multi-district webinar, it is quite but natural that we receive a lot of messages and greetings. May I request Coordinator Dr. Wasima Jahan to announce our messages and greetings.
Okay. Thank you, Anmona. For this multi-webinar, multi-district webinar, we have received many greetings and messages from different districts. So I'm not going to mention the names in details. Thank you.
Thank you, Wasima. So we know we have one advantage of naming our districts, and I'm going to take that advantage in a serial manner. So I would like to invite again IWD 324 District Chairman Rina Hussain Majumdar to offer her welcome address, which will be followed by an introduction of the District Executive Committee of 324.
Thank you, Anmona Bado. Very good evening and Innerville greetings and a very warm welcome to today's virtual multi-district webinar Rananjay, the Victorious. Honorable Association President Vasudha Sandershu Ma'am, past Association President Prabha Raghunandan Madam, Association Secretary and AC Member Sumita Som, invited speakers Dr. Sangeeta Datta and Dr. Rusi Gupta, and District Chairman-elect Amita Mundra, all dear district executive members, respected past district chairmen, all other district chairmen of other districts, today's coordinator, district CCC, PDC, Anmona Bora, and PDC Dr. Wasima Jahan Ahmed, and all Innerville members, all other district club members, all other guests present here today, and all other in YouTube Live. It is a proud privilege to get this challenging opportunity to lead Innerville District 324 from 2020 to 2021 as a district chairman amidst this pandemic year. We have overcome this pandemic and come out stronger than ever. I congratulate all district executive members of 2020 to 2021 and best wishes for the new team of 2021 to 2022 of Innerville District 324, Innerville District 325, and Innerville District 329. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome all of you to today's multi-district webinar Rananjay, the Victorious, to learn more about COVID-19 impacts and implications in collaboration with Innerville District 325 and Innerville District 329. The significance of this multi-district webinar is to bring an awareness to the society as well as all members of Innerville. The COVID-19 pandemic has led to a dramatic loss of human life worldwide, and presents an unprecedented challenge to public health, food systems, and the world of work. The economic and social disruption caused by the pandemic is devastating. Informal economy workers are particularly vulnerable because the majority lack social protection and access the quality healthcare and have lost access to productive assets. Without the means to earn an income during lockdowns, many are unable to feed themselves and their families. For most, no income means no food, or at best, less food and less nutritious food. The pandemic has decimated jobs and placed millions of livelihoods at risk. In the COVID-19 crisis, food security, public health, and employment and labor issues, in particular workers' health and safety, converse. We must rethink the future of our environment and tackle climate change and environmental degradation with ambition and urgency. So my heartfelt thanks to Inner Hill District 325 and Inner Hill District 329 for joining today's multi-district webinar Run and Jai. I warmly welcome you all once again to the multi-district webinar Run and Jai, the victorious. Thank you all.
Thank you, Rina Hussain Majumdar. May I request our Zoom host kindly to play the video for Inner Hill District 324.
कुछ पाने की हो आस आस, कोई अरमा हो जो खास खास आशा, हर कोशिश में हो बार बार, करे दरियाओं को आर पार आशाएं, तूफानों को चीर के मंजिलों को छीन ले, आशाएं खिले दिल की, उम्मीदें हंसे दिल की, अब मुश्किल नहीं कुछ भी, नहीं कुछ भी, आशाएं खिले दिल की, उम्मीदें हंसे दिल की, अब मुश्किल नहीं कुछ भी, नहीं कुछ भी।
So this is the District Executive Committee of Inner Hill District 324. Now, may I have the pleasure of inviting Dr. Sheila Rajan, the District Chairman of Inner Hill District 325, for her welcome address.
Please unmute me. Okay. Chief guest, our Association President, Vasudha Chandrachud, District Chairman, Rina from District 324, District Chairman, Anita, District 329, past Association President, Prabha Raghunandan, past Association President, Lalita Seth, eminent speakers, Dr. Sangeeta Datta and Dr. Ruchika Gupta. I welcome you all to the program Run and Jai, a multi-district webinar on COVID-19 impacts and implications. we have so nice speakers today. And really, Reena, I'm proud of you that you have arranged such a nice program, and we really enjoy the program today. So thank you very much for inviting all of us together so that we can make a multi-district program. Now, just have a look at my executive members.
Thank you, Dr. Sheila Ranjan.
Thank
May I
you.
request the Zoom host to go for the video of Innerville District 325.
Yes, yes.
इतनी शक्ति हमें दे विश्वास कमजोर होना इतनी शक्ति हमें देना दाता मन का विश्वास कमजोर होना हम चले नेक रास्ते पे हमसे भूल कर भी कोई भूल होना दूर अज्ञान के हों अंधेरे तू हमें ज्ञान की रोशनी दे हर बुराई से बचते रहे हम जितनी भी दे भली जिंदगी दे बैर होना किसी का किसी से भावना मन में बदले की होना हम चले नेक रास्ते पे हमसे भूल कर भी कोई भूल होना इतनी शक्ति हमें देना दाता मन का विश्वास कमजोर हो
Thank you. So their numerical position has placed them in the third position, but it is not last actually. IWD 329, our parent district. So may I invite District Chairman Anita Ghosh to present her welcome address.
Am I unmuted?
Yes, you are unmuted. Please go ahead.
A very good afternoon to our chief guest, Association President, our versatile Vasudha ji, host, co-host, Reena H. Mazumdar, and Sheila Ranjan, Dr. Sheila Ranjan, Association Secretary Shumita Som, District EC of all three districts, PAP Prabha Raghunandan, PAP Dr. Lalita Seth from District 329, any other, all PAPs present here today, I can't see. Speakers, Dr. Sangeeta Datta and Dr. Ruchi Gupta, coordinators, PDC, Dr. Wasida Ahmed and PDC, Anmona Bora. All past district chairmen, other district club members, Rotarians, guests, and all viewers on YouTube. A warm welcome to this webinar. Well, we are the district chairman of the pandemic year. Despite both personal and collective challenges, we were the harbingers of change. We, with a very efficient district executive committee and dedicated presidents and members, tried to lead the change. Yes, it was a change in everything. First and foremost, pandemic started this new era of webinars. Every day, we were meeting our friends over Zoom platform, Pan India. So it did forge great friendship and friendship for a lifetime. One very positive aspect was that we became computer savvy. All of us learned e-skills. We became adept at making PPTs and conduct Zoom meetings. We also inaugurated projects virtually. Pandemic taught us how little we needed. It taught us how to immediately jump into action and extend the hand of service to the needy. It also taught us how important it was to save the environment. With the lockdown, one thing that had improved is the environment. It taught us how precious oxygen was when at a crisis, there was no oxygen. There were no oxygen cylinders, no oxygen concentrators. We were gasping for oxygen. We were crying for oxygen. And that is when we started appreciating nature. And great projects of healing and saving the environment were achieved. We quoted COVID-19, embraced it, and turned victorious. It could not stop us from accomplishing our cherished dreams. Of course, we had to change our course of actions. We had to exercise prudence in actions. If possible, we were on the field, leading from the front. But with the second wave of pandemic looming large, we had to exercise caution and worked with our NGO partners. This enabled us to reach far-flung areas into the remotest corners of West Bengal, which in normal times, we wouldn't have done it. West Bengal was also ravaged by two devastating cyclones, Cyclone Amphan in the beginning of the tenure and now Yas. We did combat the catastrophic effect of these agents of destruction. Yes, once again, relief, desalination of soil so that immediate livelihood could be restored and distributed local seeds that grow best on saline soils. Water bodies were restored and pisciculture and duck and chicken rearing were initiated. This is just a small example. When people were panting for oxygen, that is when their oxygen saturation was falling down. We had 11 oxygen concentrators from the district level in circulation. COVID isolation wards were opened, ventilators, BiPAP machines, hot, humid, high-flowing cannula respirators were donated, vaccination drives were organized, community kitchens were opened. Meals were provided to the patients' relatives languishing outside the hospitals. Enormous actions were taken even at the fag end. Residents are still working, even today. Our presidents are like the sunflowers who turn to each other for strength and motivation. It reminds me of a few lines. Our presidents are like the sunflower. See the flower, how generously it distributes perfume and honey. When its work is done, it falls away quietly, unassuming, despite all its qualities. Yes, they work silently, but surely. I thank my batchmate and co-host Reena for organizing this meet and inviting us. I'm sure we will enjoy today's webinar. And once again, I welcome everyone today. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you, District Chairman Anita Ghosh from Innerville District 329. Let us have a look at the District Executive Committee of 329. So keeping in tune, whatever has been stated by DC Reena DC Dr. Sheila, and DC Dr. Anita. Now I'm going to state the purpose of this webinar. Let me start with a quote. Quote, "It is not the strongest of species that survives. It is not the intelligent that survives. It is the one that is adaptable to change," unquote. Yes, Rananjay, our becoming victorious. Victorious against whom? Victorious against this deadly virus of COVID-19, which has actually consumed our lives since the last part of 2019, although it arrived in India in 2020. And it has not only consumed our lives, it has also consumed our livelihood also. And you see, with all naman and all shraddhanjali and all pranam to our frontline COVID warriors, to the ones who have lost their lives, to the ones who are still suffering, we are going to have a look at the impacts and implications of this COVID-19. Yes, now it is no longer the new normal. It has become the new reality for us. And everybody says, just think about the last year. In last year, we were hopeful more compared to this year. But we are adapting. We are trying to survive. We are trying to fight the disease. So that is why the topic which we have chosen and the different aspects of that, it will throw light on various issues. We cannot claim that we have covered all the issues related to COVID-19, but it is our best attempt to touch the mental side, the social side, the health-related issues. And being women, we have to think about the gender side also. That will also come up when we talk about the social aspect. In this situation, what we can do with the help of the digital platform. As if all of us, we have become in our home exile. Being in this home exile, how to make the best possible use of the opportunities through the digital platform. That is the purpose of organizing this multi-district webinar, so that we get people from various walks of life, we get participants from a broader area to participate, to listen to our distinguished speakers. Thank you once again for being here with us. At this point, I'd like to hand over the proceedings of today's webinar to coordinator, Dr. Wasima Jahan. Wasima, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, PDC Anmona Bora. We have invited a panel of distinguished speakers for today's webinar. We have with us Dr. Sangeeta Datta, Senior Psychiatrist, Guwahati, then PAP and Association CCC member Prabha Raghunandan from District 325, and Dr. Ruchi Gupta, a renowned physician from District 329. So let us move on to the first deliberation. Mental health can affect daily living, relationship, and physical health. Conditions such as stress, depression, and anxiety can all affect mental health and disrupt a person's day-to-day life. So our first speaker of today's program is Dr. Sangeeta Datta, a senior psychiatrist of Assam. She will be speaking on COVID-19 pandemic impact through a psychological lens with reference to women and children. May I request PDC Mausumi Chatterjee to introduce Dr. Sangeeta Datta. So Mausumi is there.
Good evening. A very good evening to all of you. Am I audible?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, yes.
Yes, you are audible, Moushami.
Okay, thank you so much. A very good evening to all of you. It is indeed a matter of great honor and privilege to be able to introduce to this August gathering a very special guest speaker this evening in the personage of Dr. Sangeeta Datta. Born on a Christmas day in 1976 to Dr. Lakshya Priya Hira Datta and late Shishir Kumar Datta, Dr. Sangeeta Datta is an MD in psychiatry. She completed her schooling from HLC in 1992, St. Mary's School, Maligaon, Assam. In 1994, she graduated from the HS Cotton College, Panbazar, Guwahati. In 1999, she obtained her MBBS from Guwahati Medical College, Bhangagar, Assam, and in 2006, she completed her MD in psychiatry from Guwahati Medical College. Presently, she is a resident of Guwahati, Assam. Dr. Sangeeta has had the privilege of a wide working experience in reputed hospitals like Downtown Hospital, Nemcare Hospital, Agile Hospital, and presently she is successfully running her own clinic, the Hasi Clinic. Dr. Sangeeta Datta is also a proud recipient of several awards for her exemplary services rendered towards the community. Some of them are the Governor's Award for the Best Upcoming Doctor 2008, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Leadership Award by Prakriti Suraksha Parishad in 2017, an Achievement Award from Nemcare Hospital for her 10 years of dedicated service in 2018, Women Icon Award from Prakriti Suraksha Parishad and Mosfika Women Welfare Society in 2018, and Barak Brahmaputra Samanay Award for Shreshto Chikitshak Assam 2019. Besides this, she is a regular contributor to the newspaper writings, to write-ups to magazines. She takes part in TV shows and is regularly a guest speaker in government circles and NGOs. Dr. Sangeeta Datta is happily married to Dr. Walul Islam, who is an MS, and they are blessed with 3 lovely children, Hasi, Azan, and Walisa. Friends, with these few words, I take the pleasure of presenting before you a very accomplished person in the personage of Dr. Sangeeta Datta. This evening, she will be addressing the House on COVID-19 pandemic impact through psychological lens with special reference to women and children. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mosumi, for your nice introduction. And now I would like to request Dr. Sangeeta Datta, Madam, to present her deliberation. And I think you want to be co-host?
As you wish, ma'am, whatever is convenient.
You can be, I think host. Please make her the co-host. Please make Dr. Sangeeta the co-host.
She's already the co-host.
Okay. Okay, then you are the co-host.
Good evening, everyone. In fact, I'm slightly overwhelmed after having heard so many nice things about myself. And at the outset, I'd like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the organizers of this program for having invited me today to actually speak on something so relevant and important. And my topic today is impact of COVID-19 pandemic through a psychological lens with special reference to women and children. And I repeat this again, I feel honored and privileged. And this webinars like this, Run and Jai, which is an inter-district webinar, I think it is the need of the hour. Having said that, we'll straight away go to my presentation. I think I have 20 minutes, ma'am. How much time do I have? Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Do I have 20 minutes or how much time?
20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes.
Yes, thank you. So I'm a consultant psychiatrist at Medicity Aditya these days. And since we are talking about the psychological impact of COVID-19, I would like to actually remind all of you about something. In the year 2020, which is last year, when we were witnessing the first wave of COVID-19, we were actually, the WHO and other, the research organizations also, they were predicting a new pandemic, which was supposed to come parallelly with the pandemic called COVID. And this new pandemic is supposed to be a pandemic of mental health issues or mental health disorders. Now that was in 2020, because the kind of damage that the first wave of COVID-19 created in our lives and in our society was so much, even in 2020, that we expected that there will be a new parallel pandemic of mental health issues. There will be people who are depressed, anxious, people who commit suicide, people who abuse a lot of addictive substances, etc. Now in 2021, when we have already witnessed the second wave of COVID-19 and where the mortality rate is far higher, as all of us know. And now, of course, we are towards the end of the second wave, but we are anticipating a third wave of COVID-19. As per researchers, it is supposed to come within the next maybe 2 to 4 weeks or maybe 2 months. So mentally, we are very, very stressed out. We are facing a lot of psychological issues in the society. So today, when we talk about the mental health issues related to COVID-19, first I'll try to touch on all the issues which everybody, irrespective of gender or age, is facing, and then we'll come to the specific issues related to children and women. First, let's understand what mental health is all about. Let me tell all of you that mental health it does not mean the absence of mental disease only. Because a person who does not suffer from depressive illnesses, depressive disorder, a person who does not suffer from anxiety disorders, or a person who does not suffer from addictive or substance abuse disorder need not be mentally healthy. To be mentally healthy, we have to satisfy 4 criteria as per the definition of WHO. WHO has defined mental health as a state of well-being in which a person realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and contributes to his or her community. And as all of us are aware, all these 4 aspects have been affected in a negative way during COVID-19. The first thing, that is when a person can realize his or her own abilities, we know that is no longer there, because these days we are trying to survive. We are trying not to contract the virus. We are trying to protect ourselves and our near and dear ones. We are trying to restrict ourselves within the 4 walls of our homes. So definitely we are not being able to realize our abilities. Or we are not even being able to cope with our normal stresses and strains, because last year we were trying to cope with extraordinary stress because of COVID-19. But we must remember, when stress becomes chronic, then gradually our systems become exhausted. Our bodies become exhausted, our minds become exhausted. So these days, people are so exhausted, generally speaking, that they are not even being able to cope with normal stresses. Sometimes, even when our child wants some help from us, we are very irritable because we are stressed out. Sometimes when we are trying to sleep, we are not getting adequate sleep. The quality and quantity of our sleep is hampered. So we are not being able to cope with the normal stresses because we are stressed out now. We are not being able to work productively because, again, we are trying to survive. We are trying to stay healthy and, live beyond this pandemic, because a lot of people have lost their lives very unfortunately, and we are definitely not being able to reach our highest potential. So our mental health has been impaired. Now, who are the people who have been impacted by COVID-19? Actually, everyone. Now, when I say everyone, people who have been infected by COVID-19 in the past, and people, healthcare professionals, frontline workers, definitely. People who are still infected, they are also suffering, and the general public. And when I say this, I must tell you that people of all ages, you know, children, adolescents, adults, geriatric population, everybody has been impacted. And children from all socioeconomic groups, be it people who come from the middle class or the affluent class, or for that matter, even people who are, you know, socioeconomically deprived, everybody has been impacted in different ways. Now, what are the reasons which actually lead to psychological distress? Number one, the first cause is the virus is very new to us. When I say the virus is very new to us, we have to remember we do not know much about the virus. Like someone, one of the presidents has already mentioned that the virus is so new, it has actually come to this world in the later half of 2019, but in India we have seen that we have come to know about the virus only in 2020. So we have to understand that with a new virus, we do not know its nature. We do not know about how it will be transmitted. Initially in 2020, we did not know how, we did not know much about its mode of transmission or morbidity, mortality, etc. Only with the passage of time, we have come to know about the virus. And for that, we have had to pay a huge price, because many people have lost their lives, and many people have actually suffered huge economic losses also. So the virus is new, and so there is fear of the unknown. Second is the virus is undergoing mutation. Like all of us know, these days the virus has undergone a mutation which is called the Delta variant of the virus, and now there is a new mutation called the Delta Plus variant. So with the Delta Plus variant coming in, again, you know, there are newer predictions that it'll be more virulent, it'll cause more morbidity, more mortality, etc., which is causing a lot of panic in the minds of people. Now, why does a virus mutate? Because the virus is trying to survive very hard in the lives, in the bodies of people, and we are trying to kill the virus and eliminate the virus from the face of the planet. But the virus is again trying to survive, so the virus is changing very fast. Financial crisis is another reason for increased stress, because a lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of people have actually lost their lives. Some people who have turned out to be COVID positive were hospitalized, and I've seen them with my own eyes. They have actually had to pay huge hospital bills too, and people have gone bankrupt in the process of trying to save their family members. Businessmen, very petty shopkeepers, or for that matter, even people who are like, people who are from the artistic fields, like I would say actors, singers, etc. Everybody is suffering because of their professional issues. They have not been able to live normal lives, and they have not been able to earn well, because the modes of earning their livelihood has been affected by COVID-19. So financial crisis is another cause for increased mental stress and psychological distress. Social isolation is something which is not normal for human beings. When I say it is not normal for human beings, we have to understand that man is a social animal. Earlier, before 2020, before we had known about COVID-19, I still remember when people were stressed out or they were depressed, we would suggest a psychiatrist that please go out, please socialize, meet people, meet friends, talk to friends, etc. But these days, we are advising human beings, we are advising people to, against their own nature, we are telling them, isolate yourself, stay indoor, stay connected, but do not socialize. So this is about, human beings living a life against their own nature. So that is another cause of stress. Following COVID protocol is another cause of stress, because, wearing a mask, and that too in the right way, covering your nose and mouth, maintaining social distance, keeping your hands clean by repeated sanitization or by washing, etc. This is also very new. Though we call it the new normal, but nothing is normal about it, because in 2020 it was so new for us that a few people would tell us that it's so difficult to breathe through a mask, especially people who will have to go out to work. And people would often forget about washing their hands frequently or sanitizing. But of course, with the passage of time, we are gradually getting into the habit of showing COVID appropriate behavior. But that itself is a stress, especially if I may give you an example, for children, when they have to be taken out, let's say they're not keeping well, they have to be taken to the hospital. Now, actually, for children to wear a mask and go, it can be really, really stressful. And overburdened with multiple roles, I mean, when I talk women, children, apart from women and children, even the other gender, that is the males, I think everybody is overburdened these days because of COVID, because they are actually playing multiple roles, too many roles. During lockdown, I still remember we didn't have domestic help. So mostly the woman in the family, she would be, she'll be doing the cleaning, she'll be cooking, she'll be taking care of her kids. Online classes are very new. A lot of parents with young kids, they will have to train they have had to train their children. They had to learn themselves as to how to do online activities. They have to monitor their children, and it's like they're round the clock, they're busy doing things, and they're never free. There is no me time, and at the end of the day, when they try to retire, they don't get good sleep because of the stress that they're going through. So the burden of playing multiple roles of a cleaner, of a teacher, of a caregiver, etc., that has been very overwhelming for most people, especially for women. There's a term called infodemic. Now, what is happening is the last 2 years, 2020 and now 2021, there has been a lot of news and information about COVID, not only in TV channels, but also on social media, etc. So sometimes too much of information input is too much for us to handle. It overwhelms us, and we become stressed out. Therefore, we have always been advising as mental health professionals that you need to know, but know what you need to know. You don't need to know beyond, or you don't need to overburden yourself with COVID information. So it is never a good idea to keep watching the news for the whole day or do a lot of research about COVID for several hours at a stretch. We need to know about COVID protocol. We also need to understand that what kind of mortality or morbidity it has caused, the second wave has caused. How do we prepare ourselves for the third wave, etc. But beyond that, I think it is harmful to overburden ourselves with a lot of COVID information, and that is called infodemic. Sometimes, during COVID pandemic, another cause of increased stress or psychological distress is living in a hostile or abusive environment. I must mention here that a lot of families are dysfunctional, but during normal days, during pre-COVID times, people were busy in their own work. So, the abusiveness or the hostility that is there in dysfunctional families was not very obvious. And people could divert themselves into other activities. But nowadays, when people tend to stay together because during lockdown or because of restricted movements, especially in abusive environment, and because people are stressed out, they're angrier also. So what is happening is, there is a lot of stress, there is emotional abuse, there is physical abuse, there is use of substance like alcohol, etc., in an increased amount, cigarette smoking, etc. And even hostile environments are getting more and more hostile. So we know that domestic violence is also on the rise. Sometimes, living with vulnerable groups, like, if we have children at home, if we have the elderly at home, that can make us more anxious, or that can make us more stressed out, because we are very concerned. What if we contract the virus? What if we don't fall sick, but we become carriers, and then we pass it on to our children or to our parents who are aging? So that itself is, living with vulnerable groups can also be another cause of stress. The other cause of psychological distress during COVID is the impending third wave. Like, as I told you, the predictions are such that they are really frightening, really scary, because the predictions say that the mortality rates because of the third wave will be far higher than the second wave, because the virus is mutating into a more virulent form. Now we have the Delta Plus variant, and perhaps it's going to mutate further. So, and there is another prediction, of course, there is a contradiction also here. There is another prediction that children and adolescents are going to be affected more during the third wave. But again, some scientists vary regarding this. They have different opinions. They said, no, they're not going to be more vulnerable, but the chances that children and adolescents contract the virus and get ill is equal to that of the second wave. However, again, a lot of parents have come to me and asking me how to protect their children, because the third wave is coming and maybe it is going to affect or infect their children more. So that is another cause of psychological distress. Last but not the least, what I can remember about the cause of psychological distress is because WHO has predicted that we will perhaps have to live with the virus for the next few years. Now, that's a very scary thought, because to be following the COVID protocol, wearing of mask or maintaining social distancing, it's like really scary, because we were thinking that after the first wave, maybe our lives would be normal once again. It's not about the new normal. I was talking about the old normal that we used to enjoy. But now the WHO says that perhaps for the next few years, we'll have to stay careful. And that itself is an anxiety-provoking thought. So there are so many reasons as to why we are in a situation of psychological distress because of COVID-19. Now, psychological distress can be of two types. Number one is, there can be onset of a new psychiatric problem or psychological problem because of COVID-19. For example, people who never had a psychological issue in their life, now maybe they have had the first bout of a generalized anxiety disorder or a panic disorder or a depressive episode, etc. But earlier, they never had this history. So this is onset of a new condition which has been triggered by COVID, or COVID can also lead to exacerbation of a pre-existing disorder. Like there are people who had episodes of depression or episodes of maybe substance abuse, but they had recovered, they had taken treatment. Now because of COVID, because of increased stress, they have again relapsed. There is a recurrence of the disease. Or there are some patients of ours who were fully under control when they were undergoing treatment, but now with the COVID-19 coming in, their symptoms have increased, the severity of their symptoms have increased, and we have had to increase medications or admit them to control the symptom. Another point which is very valid, I think, to mention here is that some of my patients were already suffering from psychological disorder. They also couldn't come for regular checkups and they missed their medicines because of the COVID situation. So that has also, caused a lot of psychological distress in people who are already undergoing treatment. But we must remember that even people without any history of psychological distress have suddenly succumbed to a psychological condition like depression or anxiety because of COVID-19. Now, how do we know that a person is having symptoms of a psychological distress? How do we know that this is not normal? There's some common symptoms, or there's some common manifestations. I would rather talk about the manifestations first, how psychological distress presents itself, and then we'll go to the symptoms. First is stress, of course. Second is anxiety disorders are on the rise. Sleep disorders. We know people are not sleeping well, be it the quality of sleep or the quantity of sleep, people are not sleeping well. So then depression is the other one. Depression is about, helplessness, feeling of helplessness, hopelessness, and worthlessness. There have been people who have been coming to me. They've been talking about death wish. Some people have had active suicidal ideation. When I talk about anxiety, it is about vague fear that I might contract the virus, constant negative thoughts, worrying, constant worrying, there is palpitation, heart beating very fast, or not getting good sleep, always thinking about the worst, etc. So these are symptoms of anxiety. There can be something like acute stress reaction, especially, when we see a news item, maybe on TV, and we see that, even healthy people 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds have lost their lives during the second wave. We are scared. Sometimes when we have a relative who's suffering from COVID-19, then we develop an acute stress reaction. Sometimes if we ourselves have contracted the virus, we develop an acute stress reaction. And this is very important for us to realize that the second wave has been scarier than the first wave, because like in the first wave, we had known that it's only people above 40 years of age and people with comorbidities like diabetes or hypertension who are more vulnerable to develop, contract the virus or develop severity of symptoms because of COVID-19. But as I said earlier, during the second wave, we have seen people without comorbidities or people who are otherwise very young, maybe as I said, 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, they have also lost their lives. Now, post-traumatic stress disorder is the other manifestation that I had faced the stress. Maybe I had become COVID-19 positive, or maybe I had lost a family member because of COVID-19. And I was okay till about 6 months. After 6 months, again, you know, I get flashbacks, I can't sleep well, and that's called PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder. Apart from that, OCD. And OCD is obsessive compulsive disorder. We get to see a lot of patients of OCD who have come to us. They think that their hands are dirty and they repeatedly keep washing their hands. And maybe they never had OCD before, or maybe they had tendencies, they had an uncastic personality traits, but with the COVID-19 happening, you know, they are washing their hands much more than it's required. They're sanitizing their hands much more is required, and they are also having other symptoms of obsessive compulsive disorder. Substance abuse, I have mentioned earlier, there is increased use of alcohol, there's increased use of cigarette, and of course, I have seen a lot of adolescents who have come to me with heroin abuse, marijuana abuse, etc. during COVID-19. Of course, recently there has been some, you know, action from the government side and from the police. Some police has taken up a huge project and they have tried to you know, control this problem of drug addiction, and it is succeeding to some extent, but we are yet to see final results. Having said that, we are also admitting a lot of youngsters for issues of heroin addiction, alcohol addiction, and marijuana abuse, so which has really increased during COVID-19. Internet addiction is the other issue, because as we are aware of this, that a lot of youngsters, especially students, they are doing online classes. Now, a lot of them, apart from doing online classes, they are using their mobile phones, smartphones, or their laptops for playing video games, or for actually watching YouTube videos, and they are also into other activities online like watching pornography, etc. So internet addiction is another problem. And apart from that, because people have had to stay indoor, they are using a lot of social media and all that, so which is leading to a condition called internet addiction. Nomophobia is another condition. Today, we can't do without the smartphone, without the mobile phone, because without the phone, mobile phone is our world today. We talk through a mobile phone, we do Facebook on a mobile phone, we do a video call on a mobile phone, to the extent that during COVID, it itself has become a problem called nomophobia, which is no mobile phobia. And infodemic, I have already mentioned. Now, what are the signs of stress? Very briefly speaking, it is disturbed sleep, impaired attention, impaired memory, irritability. We are very irritable. We get angry very soon. Mood swings, indecisiveness. We cannot decide. We are very confused. Easy fatigability and tiredness. We are very tired for no reason. There is headache, muscle tension, neck or back pain, upset stomach, irritable bowel syndrome, dry mouth, chest pains, rapid heartbeat or palpitations, loss of appetite or overeating, because we stay home, so we are overeating comfort foods also sometimes. And there is increased frequency of colds because of, I would say, reduced immunity. When people are stressed out, immunity is reduced. So there is more of cold and cough. And so I would ask everyone to be stress-free and to manage their stress, because otherwise their immunity will go low. And that way the chances that they will contract COVID-19 or fall ill because of COVID-19 is far higher. The new normal is stressful for children because, again, for children also COVID protocol is stressful. It is very new. They're still trying to adapt to it. Absence of socialization, absence of games, etc. can be really difficult for children and adolescents, not meeting their peers in person. Online classes has been a very new issue for children. They're learning, and yet a large section of them are yet not being able to cope with online classes. And Apart from that, there is high risk of abusing children also because of COVID-19, because they live in very, very violent situations and dysfunctional families sometimes. Earlier, they were not victims of abuse, but now because they are staying home and maybe their parents are very stressed out, so they have become victims of emotional abuse and sometimes very sadly physical abuse too. Lack of structure or routine for children has been very stressful because children cannot understand things by themselves like adults. So when a parent rebukes a child saying that you should go to sleep on time at 10 p.m., you should wake up on time, you should exercise in the morning, eat healthy, study, and you shouldn't abuse the internet. They are very young to actually incorporate all that in their minds and to process that information and to carry that out, because children need a structure, they need a routine. So maintaining a structure and routine at home has been quite a challenge, and that has been quite a stressor for children. Excessive screen time has been another reason for children to actually go through psychological distress, because excessive screen time on mobile phone or the laptop has led to internet addiction, game addiction. We know they are playing a lot of games, exposure to inappropriate sexual content. Also, adolescents are watching a lot of pornography these days, which is also leading to psychological disorders. Apart from that, there are physical complaints which have come in the lives of children because of excessive screen time, like carpal tunnel syndrome. When we are managing our mobile phone with our hands like this, our wrists are constantly active. That way we develop pain in our wrist, that is called carpal tunnel syndrome. It is leading to spondylitis because we are constantly looking at the screen with our neck bent constantly for hours together. Eye strain and obesity is also another problem with children. For women, how is it stressful in a different way, apart from the stresses or the psychological distress that is common in the general population? Women as a gender, they are much more prone or vulnerable because of their hormonal issues. And as all of us know, even without COVID, women are far more at higher risk to develop depression and anxiety as compared to men. However, as we have mentioned earlier, with women, they are at much higher risk to be overburdened because of playing multiple roles. Because when I look at a normal woman, especially a woman who's a homemaker, or for that matter, a woman who's a working woman these days, she's playing multiple roles. She's cooking, she's cleaning, she's taking care of the children, doing their homework, staying with them for their online classes. She's being a good wife, she's being a good mother. And then she's also trying to, if she's a working woman, she's also working from home, or maybe she's going out every day from to work, and yet, being careful not to carry the virus back home. And then she does not have me time. She is there for everyone, but most often there is not someone for us. Children or sometimes other family members think that she's a superpower and she can always work all the time, but that is not true. So playing multiple roles for women has been quite stressful. So I would request all family members to be supportive, to understand the women, the female members of their families. And please understand that they also have physical and emotional limitations. So please help them with their activities, and please help them relax a bit. Please help them have their own time. Please help them nurture their own hobbies, because if the woman falls sick, trust me, the entire family falls sick. Now, apart from that, women have some other specific issues like premenstrual syndrome or perimenopausal syndrome, etc. And it has been seen that during COVID-19 pandemic, these syndromes have also worsened in women who already had it. Women it's a very sad fact that the WHO has shown that domestic violence on women has been on the rise. And this is during COVID-19. Women always, not always, mostly plays the role of a caregiver in her family. If there are senior citizens, it's a woman who's taking care. If there are babies, children at home, it is the woman who's the caregiver. If there is someone who's unwell, it is the woman who's the caregiver. So I think during COVID-19, we need to do away with this gender bias, so that be it the woman or be it the man or be it an adolescent in the family, everybody needs to share this role of a caregiver, because it cannot be the woman all the time, because otherwise she would succumb both physically and emotionally. So that is another reason. And there are pregnancy and contraception related issues in women, which has also led to increased stress in women. Because now mostly, couples stay at home. So either, when it's a dysfunctional family, either there is increased domestic violence, or if it is not a dysfunctional family, then there will be more physical intimacies or relationships between couples, leading to unwanted pregnancies also. Therefore, I would request all women during COVID-19 to actually take proper precautions, contraceptive methods. I think we also need to spread awareness about that, because I get to see a lot of patients at Medicity, women who come to me with unwanted pregnancies and the complications thereof. And again, I think women as well as couples need to understand the responsibilities and the true meaning of actually becoming pregnant during a pandemic, the pros and the cons of it. I think we need to build awareness regarding that too. Why has domestic violence increased according to WHO? There are 4 reasons why. Number 1 is more time at home with the abusers. We are spending more and more time at home. Earlier also we had someone who was violent, but since we used to work outside, or maybe the abuser used to go out to work, so the chances of being together was very less, the time together. Now the time is more, so the chances of abuse is more. Now there is rising stress, and as I've mentioned earlier, stress leads to a lot of irritability and increased anger. So that is another cause of domestic violence. There is isolation from social support networks. I have met a lot of ladies who have also witnessed or they have been victims of domestic violence even before COVID. But then they used to meet their colleagues at their workplace, or when their husbands used to go out to work, they could talk with someone over phone. Now, even to get that support, they don't have that space to call up someone and to get that emotional support, because the abuser is around. And limited access to critical services. These days, even to report a police complaint, it's getting difficult, because even everybody is busy with issues related to COVID-19. So issues like domestic violence have been quite neglected, and which is sad, and we must take this up. So how to cope? Towards the end of my presentation, we need to have a daily routine so that we sleep on time, wake up on time, exercise in the morning, do yoga, meditate, do mindfulness training. We sleep adequately, at least for 7 to 8 hours. We eat healthy. Healthy means enough, sufficient fruits and vegetables, and of course carbohydrates in a limited amount, proteins, and vitamins. Vitamins need not mean a multivitamin supplement, but even if we take sufficient amount of citrus fruits or other fruits or vegetables, then actually when we have a balanced, healthy diet, I think it suffices. But for others who are not being able to eat healthy, at least having a multivitamin supplement will be helpful. And we also need to stay connected with people, doing video calls with friends or relatives, calling up our near and dear ones every day, not going into, not allowing loneliness to seep in. These are also important. Cultivating hobbies is very important. In fact, I always tell people that COVID has actually given us that time which we never had to actually do what we love to do. So maybe singing, maybe painting, maybe reading a book, maybe watching movies or whatever. We never had the time for it, but COVID has given us that time. So let us do it. And to cope with stress, another thing is sharing of responsibilities. When I talked about a woman, I said that she is often playing multiple roles. Every member of the family must have mutual respect and understanding for the other members of the family, and they must share their responsibilities. Let's say if someone is helping with the cleaning work, someone should help with the cooking work. If someone is guiding the children maybe to study, someone else is doing the household work. So it has to be a kind of, sharing of responsibilities so that one person in the family is not overburdened or stressed out. So having a positive mindset, not allowing the negativity related to COVID to overwhelm us is also very important. When you think positive, your immunity is higher. And like it reminds me of the Hindi saying, man ke hare har, man ke jeete jeet. So keep thinking positive. This cannot last forever. And if we follow the COVID protocol properly, I'm sure the third wave will not be as devastating as it is. Or maybe the third wave comes in a few maybe regions, maybe in Maharashtra or in Delhi, but maybe it never touches Assam. We don't know, because if you are following the COVID protocol and you're not allowing the virus to transmit itself. So maintain a positive mindset, practice gratitude, be grateful, be thankful to the Almighty for what we have. When a lot of people come to me and tell me that, well, these days we are not being able to go out, I'm depressed, I need to go and socialize, my children need to go out and play, I always tell them, feel happy about the fact that you're healthy and you're alive, because a lot of people are not. So that way, I think we should count on our blessings, and practicing compassion is very important, helping each other, feeling for each other, empathizing with each other. I think these are human values, human virtues, which need to be practiced now. Actually, it needs to be practiced every day with or without COVID, but at least COVID has reminded us that we are not, invincible. We can succumb. A lot of people like us have succumbed. Powerful nations like America, like Europe, powerful continents, in fact, nations have also succumbed. So let us realize our limitations and let us understand that we need to be human. We need to have all those humane values of compassion, empathy, helping each other, etc., kindness, so that, we live and we help others live. So let us focus on what we can control. We cannot control we cannot control the fact that the virus is here in this world, on this planet, but we can definitely control its transmission by following the COVID protocol. We can definitely control our behavior. We can definitely control our mindset. We can definitely, control a lot of things. So let us not complain about what we can't control, but do our bit. And let's raise our spiritual quotient. Prayer can be very powerful. Apart from prayers, I think we need to understand one thing. We need to understand our existence. Like I wouldn't actually talk about this Assamese poem called Dhulikona. I suddenly remembered. It talks about, when I say let's raise our spiritual quotient, let's understand that existentially we are very insignificant creatures in this planet. Let us understand that we cannot kill this virus by ourselves. We need to join hands, work together to be victorious against this pandemic. And somewhere we need to actually feel humble. Humility is very important, and understand our existence and the meaning, the purpose of our lives in this planet when we are living. Because sometimes, before COVID, I remember people, I think a lot of people I came across were very egoistic. They were very grandiose. They thought that they can do anything, everything. Nations like the United States of America thought that they were superpowers. But see, we are seeing everything in front of our eyes. It's not like that. So let's be more spiritually sound, and let us be spiritually enlightened, and let us raise our spiritual quotient. That way we are going to live much more fulfilling lives. Let's look for the upside. Let's look at the silver lining of the cloud. And now I would call COVID-19 pandemic a golden opportunity for us to actually do a few things like building relationships. Now children and parents are spending more time. So let us build healthy relationships. Let couples have great relationships, time for each other. Let us develop independence. Earlier, we used to rely on domestic help and maids and servants for working for us. These days, we are cooking for ourselves, cleaning for ourselves. So God has given us a great opportunity. COVID has given us a great opportunity to become independent. And COVID has also given us a great opportunity to develop our hidden talents. And please, please get yourselves vaccinated, because that is another way how we can actually finally increase the immunity in the community. We can increase the herd immunity and thereby curb the transmission of the virus. So last but not the least, we need to remember a few things, that nothing lasts forever, good or bad days. We have seen bad days, very bad days in the last 2 years, but trust me, this will not last forever. Good days are around. They say tough time doesn't last. tough people do. So let's stay tough, let's stay positive, because we are going to last, not the virus. When the night is darkest, dawn is around. So we are in the midst of a very dark night, and dawn is definitely around. As I have said earlier, COVID has been an eye-opener for all of us. It has taught us that ego, anger, or all the vices that a human being can have, it's actually unnecessary and meaningless, and it is a waste in life. So COVID has made us realize deeper things in life, and let this realization stay with us. Let us introspect, let us reflect about our own lives and our own existence. That way, we are going to be great human beings as the COVID pandemic gets over. So maybe the pandemic is here to make us better human beings. And COVID has definitely taught us the value of life and the value of the present moment, because these days people can't, they can't plan for a very long term, because we don't know. Children can't plan that after 4 years I'm going to do this. So these days we have understood that whatever plans we have, it has to be short term, and we have to live in the present moment. So that is very important. Mutual respect and understanding is very important. This is just to remind you towards the end that mental health is not a destination, but it is a process. It is the journey. So sometimes we say during COVID-19, well, I have this problem, that problem, so let me just solve these problems. Maybe after 3 months, this wave will be over and then I'll be happy. No, it is never that way. We need to be happy and peaceful in the present. We need to be happy today. We need to be happy tomorrow. Only then we'll be happy after 3 months. So being stressed out, being unhappy, being anxious now, we cannot be happy tomorrow and relax tomorrow. So mental health is a process. It is not just a destination. Only when the journey is healthy will the destination be healthy. So my last slide is, it's a quote by Mahatma Gandhi. And he said that keep your thoughts positive, because your thoughts become your words. Keep your words positive, because your words become your behavior. Keep your behavior positive, because your behavior becomes your habit. Keep your habits positive, because your habits become your values. And keep your values positive, because your values become your destiny. So ultimately, we create our own destinies. So it starts with positive thoughts. I know it is very, very difficult to stay positive during COVID times. But trust me, it is not impossible. Always avoid toxic people and toxic inputs. Avoid discussion. So that way, you stay positive, follow COVID protocol, stay vaccinated, and remember, man ke hare har, man ke jeete jeet. Be a master of your mind, and definitely that way you are going to prevent a lot of psychological disorders. And if you realize that you already have some problems related to sleep or anxiety or depression, then definitely you must have a proper consultation with a mental health professional, who could be a psychiatrist, a counselor. Services are also available. Thank you. Stay safe.
Thank you, Dr. Sangeeta, for your very nice presentation. You have elaborately nicely explained the definition of mental health and different type of psychological disorders that can occur, and the manifestation and symptoms of psychological disorders in women and children. Thank you once again. Thank you so much. Next, we move on to the next presentation. The present pandemic has increased the workload of women to a great extent. In addition to household responsibilities, she has to look after other members working from home, her children, pursuing online classes, etc. And those women who have jobs also have to work from home themselves under all sorts of pressure. So our next speaker is PAP Prabha Raghunandan, who will speak on harshness of the pandemic on women. Now, may I request, so PAP Prabha Raghunandan need no introduction, but she is very well known to us. But moreover, may I request District Secretary of Innerville District 325, Rita Jha, to introduce PAP Prabha Raghunandan to the gathering. And host, please make Rita Jha the co-host. Please
Thank
make
you.
Rita,
Am I audible?
yes, yes.
Yes, you are, Rita.
Thank you. Good evening to all. I have been given a pleasant task to introduce to the August gathering the guest speaker of today's function, past Association President Prabha Raghunandan. She requires no introduction, but since it has been given to me, so my first association with Prabhaji goes back 20 years ago, when she has visited our club, that was the Inner Wheel Club of Jamshedpur, as the district chairman. Ours was a young club, only 4 years old at that time. And we were looking forward to meeting the dynamic, versatile district chairman, as the buzz was. And we were not disappointed. Prabhaji has always been passionate about Inner Wheel, and she's a storehouse of Inner Wheel knowledge. If I take the liberty to describe Prabhaji, the adjectives I could use is intelligent, observant, organized, enthusiastic, determined, proactive, helpful. I can go on and on. To quote John Quincy Adams, if your actions inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader, unquote. And Prabhaji has all these leadership qualities. Where there is a way, where there's a will, there is a way. Prabha Raghunandan believes in this and somewhere has proved it in her life. Inner Wheel entered in her life in 1989 when she helped from Inner Wheel Club of Giridih. This has been her platform to serve her town in various ways. She has initiated projects of immense impact, fundraising, planning, and executing them with perfection. In 2020, she compiled and edited her club's history book as a coffee table book. She got a commemorative stamp designed and released from the Indian Post Department. She became the district chairman in the year 2000-2001, administrating clubs spread over Bihar and Jharkhand. She was elected the 41st National President of Inner Wheel Clubs of India in 2016-17. Her tenure is remembered for her democratic leadership and innovative ideas. Prarambh, her Institute for Incoming Chairman, held in April 2016, had for the first time participation by chairmen from 5 overseas countries: Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Malaysia, along with the 27 from India. The zonal training program, Protsahan, for the incoming district executive committee members, conceptualized by her, was greatly appreciated. Motivating members to concentrate on working to create happier futures, better life for a society at large, Prabhaji initiated for the first time ever a women's car drive, Safar Stree Swabhiman Ka, traversing 6,000 kilometers through 11 Inner Wheel districts and several states of India to create awareness on the empowerment of women. This helped in projecting the activities of Inner Wheel to the world outside. The drive with inputs of the organization was made into a short film available on YouTube. The 3 newsletters she released reached every club in India. Image building was taken to be a new level by extensive coverage of inner wheel activities by the press and social media. Personally, she was interviewed and covered by national and regional news channels, magazines, Indian Observer, Sunanda, Hindi, and Bhopal Runner, besides various newspapers, giving her more opportunities to showcase Inner Wheel India. Accolades and awards she has received in plenty. Noteworthy being she was made a Paul Harris Fellow, a recognition bestowed by the Rotary District 1060 GBNI for her service to society. She was awarded for the best women in social service in her town, a government recognition on the International Women's Day in 2011. A meticulous planner and a perfect organizer, she has been a convener for several events at club district and national events. Prabhaji is a good speaker and a trainer. She's a member of the Association Constitution and Credential Committee 2019-2022. She has always believed life runs on parallel tracks. Thus, she has ably juggled her various talents, interests, and responsibilities. Reading and writing has been close to her heart always. In the last year, she has been writing for an online women's magazine. Recently, she published her book of poems, Reflections. Her friendly nature, playful enthusiasm, underlying passion, and deep sense of responsibility is often admired by her peers. Among those younger to her, she's always come across as a helping hand, guiding, motivating without any airs. To quote Maya Angelou, people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel, unquote. And I'm sure Prabhaji, with her speech, will touch each and everyone's heart. I welcome the Kohinoor of District 325, like I call her, our precious gem, to speak on the topic, the harshness of pandemic on women. Welcome, Prabhaji, and thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Rita, for the beautiful introduction. May I now invite PAP Prabha Raghunandan to deliver her speech.
Thank you. Host District Chairman Reena, Association President Vasudha, participating District Chairman Anita, Sheila, coordinators PDC Anmona and Vasima, old friends, District Executive Committee members of District 324, 325, 329, PAP, respected Dr. Lalita ji, eminent speakers of the day, Dr. Sangeeta, Dr. Ruchi, PDCs of all the districts, my fellow members, Namaskar. Thank you, host District Chairman Reena, Anmona, Vasima, and my District Chairman Sheila for giving me the opportunity to address this gathering. Thank you, Rita, for your affectionate introduction. Your personal memories touched me to the core.
Thank you.
Na choraharyam, na cha rajaharyam, na vratabhagyam, na cha bharkari, vyate krute vardativam nityam, vidyadanam sarvadhana pradhanam. It cannot be stolen by thieves, nor can it be taken away by kings. It cannot be divided among brothers. It does not have weight. If spent regularly, it always keeps growing. The wealth of knowledge is the most superior wealth of all. I think all of us will agree with this Sanskrit shloka that knowledge is the greatest wealth. And what we are gaining today is invaluable, superior. Probably the very purpose of the webinar. From 1905, women from different countries, communities, religions, walks of life have formed inner wheel clubs across the globe. They educate themselves so they can serve society better. Again, the purpose of today's webinar too. This is what women do. Thank you, Dr. Sangeeta, for such an insightful talk. It was great. I think I actually have nothing to add. You have covered what I planned. So well, I will change track. We women have an innate ability to bond. We bond across ages, social, cultural barriers, because our gender bonds us. We communicate with each other easily, comfortably. Our gender binds us. Centuries of oppression, suppression, yet immense strength, manifested in everyday life. Struggles, conflicts, protests, and sacrifices brought this incredible energy that amazes, unites us. To control one's life, have the space, have dreams and identity, self-respect is all that we ask. Don't you agree? The pandemic has hit the world hard, no doubt, and women harder. How? Today, let me tell you a story. A middle-aged, voluntarily retired couple lived in a town. Self-sufficient, comfortably placed with a maid, driver, gardener, all-purpose servant. One daughter married and working, and another daughter and son working in 2 different cities. The married daughter had a super active toddler who went to a creche, come play school. Life was good. It seemed the trials of the younger days was finally over. More financial stability, a relaxed life with the children, all by and large settled in their chosen fields. March 2020, COVID-19 was moving from vague incidents in some other countries to our own country. A niggling worry in her mind while he was glued to the TV. Suddenly, with a very, very minimum of notice, lockdown was announced. Complete lockdown. All towns were in curfew status. Groceries, medicine, vegetables were available conveniently in their town. There were no cases in their town, nor in towns nearby. It seemed like a holiday, except when you saw the news. Big bottles of sanitizer, masks were sourced, washing, sanitizing routines were strictly put in place. All the staff stopped coming, partly on their own, fearing the police lathi, partly because there was no work. The couple discouraged them. What do you do with a chauffeur when you have nowhere to go? 2 weeks later, the maid called because she wanted some help. To say their son, working somewhere near Delhi, was trying to come back. His landlord had told him to vacate the house. He was jobless too. He and others like him left home in the town because they needed, not because they needed food, but because they wanted to give their family better quality life. But with factories and shops closed, landlords asking for rent, what could he do? That is why labor had to leave. The big migrant labor moving out. Cause of armchair TV, social media debate by people who don't know anything. Now the couple were hearing firsthand the trauma of families whose men, the trauma of families whose men were working outside. The plight the men had to go through, deplorable, humiliating hardships just to reach home was unbelievable. They had a few thousand rupees in their pocket, knew it was not enough to survive there, and going home was better. Stuffed into vehicles, walking, getting lifts, and finally reaching home after excruciating distress. The maid's husband had a little shop, selling bangles and ladies' items, as he grandly said. It had closed. When he had a daily income, he was the king, the master of all he surveyed, doling out the sweets and having his pouch of liquor a day. Now he had to live with what his wife's master kindly provided. Humiliation, frustration, vented at whom? The wife. She who never normally complained too much, suddenly found herself being abused constantly. Without liquor, he seemed worse. If domestic violence was a virus in itself, the lockdown has not only increased its breeding rate, but also morphed its DNA to make it a more tenacious variant. Additionally, increased drinking or forced abstinence from alcohol due to the closure of wine shops aggravated the complicated relation between alcohol and domestic violence. Her daughter, a young woman married in a neighboring town, had rushed to her mother's place to save herself from physical and verbal abuse just a few days earlier. She felt she could remain safe at peace for some days, but her hopes were short-lived. With the lockdown preventing her from returning to her husband's house and slide in income with no job, tension was rising in her parents' place too. As income was squeezed, her brother, apparently feeling that she was an additional burden, one day severely beat her up. Somehow she managed to escape where her mother used to work, asking for shelter. As cities around the world have gone into lockdown and quarantine mode, the reports in domestic violence have alarmingly increased. There is no doubt that the pandemic accelerates in economic stress among low-income households. As a result, the women in these households are the worst hit, disguised and explained as income stress abuse. The younger son who stayed with them had lost his job too and just kept lolling around the house, not lifting a finger, which increased the maid's work. And I'm really sorry for this. And all what he did was sit around and kept taunting his mother. The migrant who came back home, even after so many months, has not found a job because he feels that what he's getting is beneath his status. He was working in a factory after all. Who gets the brunt of this frustration? Again, the mother and sister. What is happening in the middle-class household? First, the married daughter called and said she was coming home. She would work from home from there. The couple were very happy. It seemed like annual holidays. Unlock 1 brought her home first. But why did she actually come home? In urban areas of our country, which encompasses the majority of working women, the major dependency is on childcare and day school facilities. With the rapid rise of the virus and schools closing down, the inadequacy to cater to the needs of child arise. The couple adjusted to having a toddler, running around carefree, tried to find ways to amuse her, while her mother spent 14-hour workdays in front of the screen. The COVID-19 pandemic has brought the work from home culture that was not popular in India. Working timings are longer. Due to this structure and working, many organizations have cut down the salaries of employees as the economy has suffered too. India has some of the worst gender statistics in the developing world. Its female labor force participation rate is one of the lowest in the world. Among those women who do work, most are in unpaid or irregular work. Women are disproportionately represented in poorly paid jobs with no benefits as domestic workers, casual laborers, street vendors, and in small-scale services like salons. And just as they're losing their paid employment, many women face a huge increase in care work due to school closure, overwhelmed health systems, increased needs of older people. And let's not forget the children who had their education cut short. The government at all levels has maintained a stoic patriarchal silence on this issue, complicit in the woes of Indian women who are bearing the brunt of the pandemic on their calloused feet and hardened hands. But I'm digressing from my story. The next to call was the youngest, the Ghar Ki Ladli Bitiya. She had spent 2 weeks at a friend's place during the lockdown. And when she returned to her flat, the apartment people would not let her enter. After a couple of hours of arguments and tears, they told her to go and stay in and not come out at all, not even to collect groceries or throw garbage. So much for the humane side of humans. Societal climate change has happened. There was no one to assist her even to get groceries. For weeks, she saw no one. Delivery was outside her door. She spent days working, nights the loneliness got to her and she was becoming withdrawn, unhappy, moving to a state unwanted. Her mother was her confidante who started worrying about her. She decided to come back home. All happiness of her new first job, adventure of big city life evaporated. The sparkle was gone. Now for the son. Though living away from home for past 10 years, he had never cooked. Like others of that age, had relied on maids or ordered online. Now, he would video call home, make dishes. Being able to cook is a high point of my day, he used to say. And who was teaching him? His mother. Cooking is another life skill that many have started to work on or have been compelled to work on in the absence of domestic help. This lady, this middle-class lady, who a couple of months back had all the time in the world for herself, reading and gardening and puja part and telephone chats, has been thrown into full-time work along with toddler and elder care. A day comes when the son says he's losing his job as the firm is laying off people. It's not only labor who are migrant. We from the east of India know that white-collar professionals, engineers, BPO workers, corporate houses are full of our youngsters in Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore. The city machinery runs because of our intellect and hands too. The newspapers has said, and unemployment is predicted to increase, and the financial capacity of Indian homes comes under stress. The country can expect a drop in employment rates. Well, this had hit home too. How is the middle-aged lady feeling? Grown-up children who had been living away for years, only coming for holidays, were at home. They were not kids she could discipline and shout at, but their timings were erratic. There were no days, no nights, no discipline, no together meals for all day long, no seeing each other. From cooking one katori veggies to one kadai and one dish meals to a 3-course, she was stuck in the kitchen with little help. A very special characteristic of women is they can multitask. Yes, each woman is a multitasking Durga. Ma shows her 8 hands, each symbolizing different tasks. We do not have visible hands, but we do so many things, taking care of children, family, professional work, shopping, banking, you name it. The kids wanted to help. They said they would, but it didn't happen, except on weekends when they were free and then they caught up on their sleep. Many women like her are full-time, taking care of the family, cooking, doing household chores without maids. Not an easy job. Constant vigilance on others' health, sanitization, toddler care, husband care takes its toll. But in this middle-class family, a change has occurred. The pandemic has created an effect on men to understand and step into the life of a woman. In the first week of a full house, the master of the house behaved like that, a master, ordering and saying, why isn't this done? Why isn't that done? Cooped up in closed spaces for long hours, days, weeks was harrowing for all. But later this realization dawned. Now the couple have divided their household chores like cooking, cleaning, and taking care of the toddler. There was positive change. For dear friends, together we can drive out fear. Together we can bring hope. Together we can bring joy, good times or bad times. Together we can do anything and everything. Youngsters learned to do laundry, learned about medicines, got the important contacts, names and numbers, learned to operate basic tools, sewing buttons, darning a tear. Families started spending quality time with each other, strengthening family relationships. Money management, banking, health insurance are being discussed with more seriousness than ever before. The women got educated in areas they were not bothered about because it was the need of the hour. She learned from a young 30-year-old neighbor with 2 kids that all mothers are out of ideas to keep their children engaged and focus on education at home. She said, your daughter is lucky to come home. You're doing so much. A year back, we told our children, no playing on computer, no cell phone, it'll spoil your eyes. And today, they're doing the same and we make them do it because it is studies. We feel we are hypocritical. Working crazy hours at home without childcare was the reality experienced by full-time working parents with professional careers around the world. Besides coping with a heavy workload alongside with young children, monitoring little ones online, learning to work online, web conferencings with colleagues, customers, platform administration, virus prevention, the exhausting list for a work at home in the pandemic goes on. The Ghar Ki Ladli back home in the safe, loving atmosphere at home says, new normal made her understand how important it was for them to have a disciplined, time-managed schedule for future corporate life. They are learning home-work-life balance. Grabbing an apple on the way to office and umpteen cups of coffee is not healthy. Learning a new way in which education will be imparted in the future digitally through online platforms is another thought the elder daughter is having. Friends, was this the story? Or was this what you have been seeing around you, experiencing around you? Isn't it? Yes, this is the reality. This is the reality that all of us have been going through. This is the reality that each one of us has seen. WHO, most of the discussions around the coronavirus pandemic are either gender blind or gender neutral because arguments ignore the fact that the pandemic shapes gender relationships in general. A WHO working paper revealed 70% of workers in the health and social sector are women, and the gap in incomes is 11%. Despite such disparities, nurses, female childcare and aged care workers, cleaning staff work on the pandemic during the global pandemic situation. They are in the front line. Salute to these brave women. Life has been oddly, yes, systematically frozen, suspended by the pandemic. It is systematic because the pandemic has made us realize that we are still divided by caste, class, and gender. The virus has dismissed all illusions that now we are classless because the poor have suffered more. We are not gender neutral. The women have suffered more. We have all illusions have been swept away. Governments across the world are talking about stay at home without even acknowledging the fact that there is increase in domestic responsibilities created by the lockdown. The home now includes children and old age people, and it is the women who bear this burden. राह संघर्ष का जो चलता है वही संसार को बदलता है. राह संघर्ष का जो चलता है वही संसार को बदलता है. जिसने रातों से है जंग जीती, सुबह सूर्य बनकर वही चमकता है. All over the world, it is the women who have held it all together. Countries with women heads perform better. I believe that a woman holds relationships together. She is the Fevicol, the glue who will not let the home come apart at any place, organization. It is women who, due to the natural instincts of empathy and care, keep the bonding intact. While the current times are not easy for anyone, it has been especially harsh for young women who were brimming with energy, enthusiasm, and ideas. Through nurturing human values, we can ensure that women are able to emerge out of this crisis, feeling emotionally stronger, mentally healthier, and better equipped to manage the real world. Rananjay, we will be victorious. As leaders of society, we Inner Wheel members need to practice what we preach. Are we wearing masks when needed or merely putting photos of wearing? Poster and collage of messages to create awareness of not crowning? But are we doing the same? Are we vaccinated and getting all around to do the same? Well-directed individual efforts can create a movement to improve society. When thousands of us join in, the society becomes vibrant and changes occur. I will end with this tribute to women from an unknown writer. Women have strength that amaze. They bear children, carry burdens, hardships, yet hold faith, happiness, love, joy. They smile when they want to scream. They sing when they want to cry. They fight for what they believe in. They stand up against injustice. They lend a shoulder to cry on and pat the back at the same time. A ear to listen, a voice to suggest. The beauty of a woman must be seen from her eyes, for that's the doorway to her heart. The heart of a woman makes the world spin. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is created by women. Thank you very much. Dhanyavad.
Thank you, Prabhaji, for your very wonderful and informative presentation. And you have also gave a very informative story of a family. And the pandemic has really affected all the members of the family to work together and to spend time together. Thank you once again, Prabhaji, for your informative presentation. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. So let us move on to the next program in the agenda. So in this pandemic situation, we have certain responsibilities to follow as responsible citizens, which is reflected in the video to be presented by Innerville Club of Uttarain Diva on Together We Save Time. So I request host to share the video.
सारी दुनिया बेचैन है, परेशान है, अपने आने वाले कल के बारे में अनजान और बेखबर है। पर दोस्तों, हमें किसी भी हाल में हार नहीं माननी है, हौसला नहीं हारना है। इस लड़ाई में जीत हमारी होके रहेगी, चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए। साथ मिलकर हम एक नई दुनिया जरूर बनाएंगे।
थोड़ा हौसला तू रख इंडिया, आज है धूप कल होगी छाँव, तेरे मेरे लिए है फरिश्ते यहाँ, तू है यहाँ मैं तेरे मेरे लिए है फरिश्ते यहाँ, तू है यहाँ मैं हूँ यहाँ। कट जाएगा ये बुरा समा, मास्क लगा और दूरी बना, साथ मिलकर इसे देंगे भगा। मास्क लगा और दूरी बना, साथ मिलकर इसे देंगे भगा। मास्क लगा और दूरी बना। रात में लड़ रहे सोल्जर यहाँ, दिल से सलाम तुम्हें, दिल से सलाम। खुदा हो या हो तुम इंसान, दिल से सलाम तुम्हें, दिल से सलाम। खुशी की चादर में लिपटे नन्ही मुन्नी जान सम तुझसे खुदा आए न तूफान फिर मुड़ के, साथ मिलकर इसे देंगे भगा। मास्क लगा और दूरी बना, रात दिन लड़ रहे सोल्जर यहाँ, दिल से सलाम तुम्हें, दिल से सलाम। खुदा हो या हो तुम इंसान, दिल से सलाम तुम्हें, दिल से सलाम। रात दिन लड़ रहे सोल्जर यहाँ, दिल से सलाम तुम्हें, दिल से सलाम। साथ मिलकर इसे देंगे भगा। मास्क लगा और दूरी बना, साथ मिलकर इसे देंगे भगा। मास्क लगा और दूरी बना।
Thank you, members of Innerville Club of Uttara and Diva, for the very informative and wonderful presentation. Now, next, we move on to the next topic of the agenda. Health is of prime importance during the pandemic. Most of us are aware of different health issues related to COVID-19 infections. These issues become grave in persons with comorbidities, even leading to mortality. So our next speaker is Dr. Ruchi Ghosh from District 329. She will be delivering a talk on impact of COVID-19 in connection with related health issues. So may I request District Chairman, Innerville District 329, Anita Ghosh, to introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Ruchi Ghosh. So, Anita.
Thank you for unmuting me. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Once again, a very good evening. Our guest speaker is not Ruchi Ghosh, but Dr. Ruchi Gupta.
Oh, sorry. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. Yeah.
I have the very pleasant task to introduce Dr. Ruchi Gupta from District 329. She is very humble and very modest and has requested me not to say much about her. She is an alumni of Sri Neel Ratan Sarkar Medical College and School of Tropical Medicine. Ruchi has a diploma in Medico-Legal Sciences from Symbiosis, Pune. As a young doctor in a government hospital, she realized early on that just providing medical help was not enough, thus developed her passion for social service in Innerville, provided the platform for meaningful work. She taught patients' mothers the art of cooking low-cost nutritious food using local ingredients at the hospital. She set up the medical health card for all students at South Calcutta Innerville School and instituted biennial health checks to monitor physical and mental growth of the students. The school, running successfully for 55 years, is the pride of her home club, Innerville Club of South Calcutta. Ruchi has conducted various health and sanitation related awareness programs for sister clubs and her home club. She has presented papers at seminars and conferences, both medical and otherwise. Knowledge is the key, and education the means to bring equality in our society. Learn to live, live to learn is her motto. A doctor by profession, she believes that there is no end to learning. Friends, I present you our very own Dr. Ruchi Gupta.
Very good evening to everyone. I believe you have the PowerPoint presentation. If you could please show that.
I think host, please.
Yes, thank you. The next slide, please. A brief history of this coronavirus, which has taken the world by storm. You know, it's not a new virus. It was first discovered in the year 1965. Like the adenoviruses, the rhinoviruses, it was there, not creating any issues. It was fine. Till 2003. We had an issue called SARS, Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome. Yes, that is when this wonderful actor, you know, this virus is a master of disguise. You never know in which form it is going to come. It might be the one with the lovely lipstick Alpha variety, which quickly changes in the blink of an eye to a gun-toting Delta. And then it becomes Delta plus. But unfortunately, you know, actors will stop when the director says cut. This actor is definitely not a director's actor. It has a mind of its own. And on the other corner is an artist's impression of the coronavirus, so named because of all those little projections that you see, which gives it a crown-like image. The Dr. Paint happens to be a surgeon as well. So this is one who doesn't want to listen, but we have to do something to make it listen. Move on to the next, please. Next slide. Could I have the next slide, please? So the physical aspects of the disease we will discuss in 3 versions, okay? The active case, the post-recovery, and the work from home. Everybody knows WFH now. I think it's ingrained in one's head. The next slide. The next case. So an active case, when does it start? It starts with what we call the prodrome, which you might have a slight malaise. It could be a cough, a cold, a loss of sense of smell. It could be a loss of sense of taste, rashes. As I said, it's the master of disguise. Now, people are even getting loose tummies, there's nausea, joint pains. A colleague of mine woke up one morning with numbness and weakness in the lower limbs, initially thinking he probably was suffering from a cerebral stroke. But it was this wonderful methyl actor, COVID-19. When symptoms increase, they can become severe, showing breathlessness and low oxygen saturation. The fever may rise and continue for 5 days. That is when one needs to think of what to do next. So let's move on to the types of active cases. The next slide, please. The mild form. The mild form, in most cases, can be treated at home. You don't need to do very much. You need to follow your doctor's advice and your doctor's prescription, not the next door neighbors, because no 2 people are the same and no 2 bodies will react the same. So you go to the doctor and you follow your doctor's prescription, not neighbors, not what Masiji said, not what Satuma said, no, the doctor's prescription. That being said, mild cases may sometimes need to be treated in a hospital if there are severe comorbidities. We move on to the moderate case. Here, the breathless, quite major proportions. The oxygen may be dropping. The fever is probably continuing beyond 5 days, so further treatment is required. Your appetite might not be what it was, so you may or may not require hospitalization. Again, it is the doctor who will decide whether you need to go. Or if at home you have no help, then he or she may recommend that you go to a safe home. In severe case, hospital admission is almost always a must. And this we have seen mainly in those with comorbidities like high blood pressure, high blood sugar, kidney issues, and such like, or just simply age. Now, what one needs to do while one is at home is to monitor certain things. You need to maintain a chart for your temperature and your oxygen levels. At least 4 times a day, maintain it and follow it completely. And doctor can decide, is there improvement or is there not? Now, supposing you are showing an oxygen level of, say, 94, 95, 93, you do not need to panic. There is a very simple thing that can be done, which can help this oxygen level to rise, and this is called proning. Could we have the next slide, please? The next slide. Just we'll go to the next one after this and come back here. The next slide. So this is what proning is. By now, I'm sure all of you are quite the expert in how to do it. If you can do it, at least a minimum of these 2 positions, it's better if you can, again, lie on your left side as well for another 30 minutes. But sometimes you don't want to spend that much time. So 1 hour is enough. Could we move back to the previous slide, please? The previous one, yes. Now, post-recovery, this is extremely important. Rest. This is something that you all must realize, even if you feel better and you think, okay, I can do everything. After the initial 14 days, or when your doctor has given you the clear chit, another 14 days, you must remain at rest, which means in your home. You can now move out of your isolation room, but you must remain at home. This rest is exceedingly important, along with a few other things, to prevent those late complications, which is actually happening in a lot of younger people. The next is diet. High protein diet is required to help your body heal. You need to drink adequate water. You must remember that any respiratory infection, you do lungs, which you are not realizing. So you must drink enough fluid. It could be water, it could be nimbu pani, it could be coconut water, juices, whatever. You must ensure that your comorbidities are taken care of. Those with diabetes, please note your sugar may rise to very high levels post-COVID. So you must go to your doctor and get that taken care of. It's very, very important. Breathing exercises that you do are simple breathing exercises, blowing balloons. These must be continued. Do not stop them. A lot of the younger people want to know, when do I return to my regular exercise routine? I'm feeling perfectly fine. It has to be a slow and graded return to regular exercise. You cannot overdo anything because the body is taking time to heal. The late complications are actually very severe. You all know that it can cause lasting fibrosis in the lungs, which means that your lung capacity will decrease. It can cause an inflammation of the heart, myocarditis. Even renal complications are seen. And of course, all of you now know about the black fungus. Again, it's a misnomer to say that this has just appeared. Mucormycosis has existed for a long time, and we have seen it in immunocompromised people like those with AIDS or even in diabetes. Now, another thing that I would like to mention right here is that you should not go overboard with prevention. It is very, very, very important, because this disease results in something which is called a cytokine storm. So, why has it been affecting younger people? Their immunity levels are extremely high, and that can trigger what is called a cytokine storm, where you're producing excess of the antibodies, which instead of just destroying the virus, is then with they don't have anything else to direct their attributes to, so they start affecting the cells of the body. So they start eating up your own body cells. So therefore, this excessive vitamin use, or this excessive trend towards boosting immunity can cause another problem by itself. Another thing, let's move on to the next slide, which is proning again. So this proning you should also practice during your post-recovery period. In general, it's a very, very good thing for most people to do. Those patients of COPD should actually be doing this at least twice a day if possible. And the next slide. So now we come to what is work from home. Work from home is a part of life. We all know that. What does it entail? It entails longer working hours, because your boss thinks, "Arey, wo to ghar pe baiti hai, aur kaam de do, kar legi." Unaccustomed physical work. You may be working out in the gym, but you've forgotten the jharu chindi part of it, which uses completely different sets of muscles. So how does that affect you physically? Your posture, sitting in the chair for hours on end, affects your spine. And that goes for your children as well, particularly those children in classes 9, 10, 11, 12, where they're sitting for almost 4 hours in front of the screen. So what can you do? You as parents need to inform the school that they cannot have continuous classes. There should be breaks after every 40 minutes where the child can just take a stroll, do a few spine stretching exercises, and come and sit down. That holds for you as well as a working mom and the dads. Whoever is sitting and working at the computer, you must remember to do your spinal exercises. It is extremely important. The next one we come to is eye strain, because you're constantly looking at the screen. So there's a lot of things being written about this, the blue glass, and but studies are still going on. As I said, this actor is changing constantly, and we've not really had, we can attack it and stop it. We're still working on that. So there is still studies going on regarding the use of a blue glass. But we can do something that we know will help, and that is frequent blinking. Just closing your eyes. If you have some greenery somewhere, just stare at some green. These simple things can take care of eye strain. Behavioral issues in children is a big problem. The little ones, don't just, wake up late, let things go. Let them remain in their discipline. If they have school and if they were wearing uniforms, See that they put on their uniforms. Doesn't matter if other people's children are not doing it. You do it. In the long run, it will help you when the child has to go back to school. And at some point, of course, they will go back to school. So discipline, as before, should be maintained, but interspersed with some quality time with the children. You know, एक दिन डस्टिंग नहीं हुआ तो नहीं हुआ. अगर बच्चे के साथ अगर 10 मिनट भी आप बॉल खेलो या लूडो खेलो या जो भी हो, it will make a big difference. And then we come to paranoia, which I think is causing the biggest problem. And that is when you just want to hide away in the house, not go anywhere. I don't know about District 324 and 325, but in District 329, we Bengalis know, I think everybody thinks they are doctors. So each one has their own little, ye karna hai, wo karna. We've all been doing a lot of these kadhas, but even that in excess can cause a problem. I'm seeing patients with loose motions, with the beginning of ulcer disease, because there's just too much of that pepper and the cumin and the, So everything must be in moderation. That is what you all have to understand. Moderation is the key to everything. So, so follow the routines. Don't bombard yourself with information, as Dr. Datta has already said. So I will not get into that at all. Could we move on to the next slide? What are the hard truths? This is something you have to face. There is no choice. COVID-19 pandemic will not exit gracefully. I already told you, it's not a director's actor. It's following its own agenda. Vaccination is not total protection. It can only help in preventing severity of the disease. Masks for all above 5 years of age is a must. Physical distancing, avoidance of crowded areas, social gatherings. You need to be very careful about this. No one is saying don't go out. Go out taking precautions. You cannot hide away in one corner of your room. That is not life. That is not how we humans live. And washing and hygiene. Ladies, most of all, you need me time. Take it. Doesn't not wipe the floors this morning. It does not matter. You need me time. Take it. It's very, very important. And here I would like to just share a few lines from Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood. And sorry, I could not travel both. And be the one traveler, long I stood and looked down one as far I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere, ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Corona is forcing us to take that road which is less traveled. But let me tell you, ladies, we are going to be victorious. We will win. Rananjay, it is. Victory is ours. But we just need to follow certain rules. In the words of Rabindranath Tagore, the mind is without fear and the head is held high. Into that freedom, my country, let me awake. And Corona, you have no choice because where we are held high, we will get that freedom. Next slide. Next. Thank you, ladies, for a patient hearing. Stay safe, and above all, enjoy Inner Week. Thank you so much.
Excellent, Ruchi.
Thank you, Dr. Ruchi Gupta. Please, sorry for the mistake that I made. Okay, you have beautifully explained the different aspect of COVID-19 in a very simple way. And you have explained, you have given the signs, symptoms of COVID, types, complication and prevention, especially the complication and prevention of work from home. Thank you once again for your very informative speech. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome. Now, it is a pleasure to have with us our Honorable Association President, Vasudha Chandrachud, as our chief guest of today's program. Thank you, Madam, for being with us today in spite of your busy schedule. So I request Association Secretary and AC member, Sumita Som, to please introduce our Honorable Association President, Vasudha Chandrachud. Sumita.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes. Yes, Sumita. Sumita.
I think she is muted. No sound.
Hello, ma'am. I think your earphones are not connected yet. Ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Sumita, unmute yourself.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. It's my proud privilege to introduce our beloved Association President, Vasudha Chandrachud. All of us know what is Vasudha Chandrachud. I need not explain and would not put before you because we have seen her throughout the year. But as it is a custom to introduce her, I am going ahead. Born and brought up in Nasik, Vasudha ji is BSc in microbiology with first class distinction. She is actively involved in her family business of manufacturing industrial chemicals and aromatherapy skin care products. Vasudha ji is a charter secretary of Innerville Club of Deonar. She was twice club secretary, twice club president, and twice zonal coordinator. As club president, she started municipal garbage collection van first time in her area and provided drinking water facilities with water purifiers in many schools. She owns several awards and trophies during her presidential years and also got prizes in various district and inter-district competitions. She joined District Executive Committee in 2004-05 as district editor. After serving all posts very successfully, she became district chairman in 2009-2010. First time in District 314 as the district secretary, she introduced very convenient tabulated format for general body minutes. As district chairman, she executed 2 mega district coordinated projects. One was on skin donation and rehabilitation of burn victims, where 16 corrective plastic surgeries were carried out. Second was vocational training project, where 4,900 girls, women, physically challenged, rescued prostitutes, and jailmates were trained. As district chairman, she had a privilege of having maximum number of clubs and maximum number of members in her district 314 from all over India. She has been chairman for various district trust area committees. Twice she was chairman for greener and cleaner environment, twice district rally chairman, twice convener for district seminars on cancer awareness and legal rights of women, twice chairman for vocational training. She was chairman for inter-district entertainment program during South Asia Rally and chairman for exhibition and stalls during Triennial, both in Mumbai. She gave presentations on communication skills in the first ever held All India Past District Chairman's Meet in Ahmedabad. She was national editor in 2017-18, where she efficiently handled Innerville website and printed a book project bank, where she published 2 most innovative projects of each district in India. She has made documentary on her club activities on its completion of 30 years. Year 2021 was a special year for Vasudha ji, as first time in India hosted Innerville convention on, and though it was supposed to be physical, it was done virtually, as all of us know, and under the International Innerville President 2021, Dr. Beena Vyas, who is also from India. Vasudha has attended 2 IIW conventions, 6 triennial conference, 3 South Asia rallies, Diamond Jubilee celebrations of Association of Innerville Clubs in India, IIW Golden Jubilee celebration, to mention a few. She was recognized as Golden Woman of Chembur for her contribution in social service. She has won several prizes in drama, essay writing, elocution competition, and fashion shows. She is an advent follower of Vipassana meditation. She has learned tarot card reading and completed level 2 of Reiki. Reading is her passion. Traveling and gardening are her hobbies. She is happily married to Rotarian past President Ballal Chandrachud, who belongs to the eminent family of lawyers. As we know, we have Chief Justice of India, Mr. Chandrachud, so she belongs to the same family. Vasudha and Ballalji have got Best Rotary Couple Award twice. She is also a Paul Harris Fellow. They are blessed with 2 children, son Aditya and daughter Almitra, both married and well settled. She is also blessed with 3 grandchildren. She feels
our most wonderful achievement in Innerville is getting wonderful friends like all of us. So here I present before you Basudha-ji. Basudha-ji, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you, Samita, for your beautiful introduction of our association. So now I request Association President Vasudha Chandashwar, please address the gathering.
Very, very good evening. Maybe night is just approaching, so I think I will have to be, I can see most of me smiling from within. Okay, so I will just share few things from my heart now, because every time I think, oh, now it is only 8 days left, only 10 days left. Now I have to just be at home. But what is happening, I don't know. My districts, all the 27 districts, they are doing so many programs. So I'm booked till 30th. And I feel proud about it, that they are not doing it for the post's sake. They are doing it just all these beautiful programs as their regular routine of Innerville work. So district chairman, district chairman, Reena, Sheila, and Anita, the speakers, esteemed speakers, Sangeeta Datta, Prabha Raghunandan, and Ruchi Gupta. Past association president, I hope she's there, but I think she left, Lalita ji. I just respect her like anything. Then all district executive committee members of all 3 districts and Innerville members. Number is dwindling there down, so I must finish as early as possible. Okay. So you people have talked all about COVID for all, everybody rather, society, children, this, that. But I will say in very short that how or what was the impact of COVID on we. We means me and my chairman, 27. I am just in love with, I never leave them. It is always me and my district chairman. So how we handled the COVID and how we went through that. Even I also decided to speak this right now. So of course, physically, we were stressed out, no proper exercise, but very bad work at home. And then we spoiled our eyes. Yes, I am especially, and all my friends, or we broke our backs and we lost our throat because we couldn't meet physically. We had to speak on phone, convince them, online meetings, but we survived all that. It was a physical level, but we said, ek saal ka to sawal hai, kar lete. Then what about our mental state and our psychological, health? Of course, we went through lots and lots of stress. There was no road of, laid by roses. We had resistance. Of course, I shouldn't say, but some other little bit, we had to handle people around. What else I can say? Though this is a good organization, there were many things which were happening first time. So it took time for others to accept the things we planned to do, right? Anita, I can say here, Sheila and Reena. So we tried to just be more understanding we had. And I can say that we had a big fight at psychological level. What I say, kuch khamiyan उनमें भी थी, कुछ खामियां हम में भी थी, लेकिन वो गिनते रहे और हम नजरअंदाज करते रहे, क्योंकि we had only that feeling कि we have to work, we have to go ahead, we have to work. So we really ignored many things. We kept quiet and did our work. वैसे तो कहते हैं कि हमें तोहफे में आपका साथ बहुत पसंद है, लेकिन आजकल के कोरोना में इतने महंगे तोहफे देते कौन है, right? So we knew that people are around us, but when we meet them physically and all, how we could convince them, it was not possible. So again, we managed that. We developed our communication skill and we managed to do our things on phone and this and that. So saath to mila. The support was there, but we had to work double for that. It was not very easy for us. Then again, at psychological level, it was like a new we evolved newly. We became more compassionate. Yes, I know, and we all knew, it's all 28 of us. We knew that every book, it has got its own beautiful story, maybe difficult story. So we learned that don't go by the cover of the book. We understood each and every human being and then we understood their problems and we motivated to do the work. We became considerate. Considerate we had to now, because there were many problems. So we were rude to say, no, you have to do only this way. How you did it, why you did it. We were always considerate, no problem. In fact, I myself, and we offered other clubs even to do the PowerPoint presentations and how to go about it. We told them, we became considerate if there were few lacunas also. So Corona, we went through all those metamorphism, I must say. Isn't it, my three lovely district chairmen? Yes. और आपको रिजल्ट दिख रहा है? देखो, परीक्षा तो अकेले में दी जाती है, लेकिन रिजल्ट तो सबके सामने आ जाता है. You can see the result now. What we have done, it is now in front of whole world, because I got this information from Alan and Liz, who is a even IW treasurer. So when whole world did 201 clubs, India made 128 out of it. Only 70 clubs were done throughout the world. How much percent? Please take it out. Then there was an increase in membership all over the world, was 3,408. And here in India, our membership, we contribute to the whole world, is 2,484. So again, percent, I mean, we are always in merit, 70% and above. It's not a small thing. It is not a small thing. And how this 27 district chairman, I would like to again say, COVID, we did maximum. Health, we did maximum. This year, the record was broken, I said, 63 crores plus. Out of that, our people from India, they understood the importance of COVID, or maybe problems of COVID, and maximum money was spent on COVID and health was 28 crores plus. Huge amount we have spent. So, I mean, at all the levels, India has excelled, and so many webinars like that. Overall, 1 crore people, they were benefited by the projects done by wonderful people of India at all the levels, started from giving food, 3 to 4 to send maximum pictures compared to others, even 3 to 5, giving food, and then ambulances and even buses which were converted into wards to give oxygen, all other equipments which are needed by the hospital, everything possible which was needed, it was given. Even the nurses and doctors, they were given the food and the items needed. So what is left? Nothing. Now just we have to keep the fight on. I think Corona also must have felt ashamed to be so stubborn to be here. I think Corona has decided to go because of the passion and dedication seen by the Innerville members, I think. So throughout the year, my district chairman, all the presidents and all Innerville members, they took Corona very, very positively. And this year it was made special by all of them. They gave hope to everybody. Yes, hope. Yes, it is called bharosa, right? तो भरोसे पे तो सब जीते हैं. ये जिंदगी भरोसे के ऊपर तो चलती है, वरना हम क्यों कहते फिर मिलेंगे, right? We always think we are going to meet again. So with this, I would like to end my speech here, that I'm very happy that fag end means hardly few hours left, only 5 days. But still you have done beautiful, beautiful webinar, bringing all the 3 districts together. It is a real like an elixir for all of us to hear again and again, and to get again motivated to keep our fight with Corona on. So thank you very much for calling me. And yes, I say, I'm so happy. Now somebody said, put the collar. I want to repeat that. Today, yes, because the name had to be put or little mending, I say that, but without collar. Today I'm feeling relaxed, but so satisfied. This collar, you know, it is very heavy with responsibilities. Today I know that though collar is not there, I have done my duty. My chairman, they have done their duty. And now we are very, very happily going back. Within a very strong association we have given to the next team. हिंदी में वो गाना है ना, अब तुम्हारे हवाले वतन साथियों. With a big smile, we are going home with a very satisfaction. We are going home very soon, but we know that we have done our duty, and I wish next year also they will follow the same path, bring hope to everybody, भरोसे के साथ. और मैं बात लास्ट में इतना कहती हूँ, यस फिर मिलेंगे. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Thank you, madam, for your motivating speech. And it is always a pleasure to hear from you. And surely we will meet again. Thank you once again. So next, I hand over the proceeding to a coordinator, PDC Anmona Bora. Anmona?
Thank you, Wasima. We have listened to three wonderful speakers. We have listened to Honorable Association President Vasudha Ji of leading the change in this pandemic year, a wonderful journey. But it is said that we remember well when we note down the salient points. And at this point of the agenda, we are simply going to do that. That is summing up our district ESO of IWD 3 to 4, Puvali Datta Bujar Barua. She is an expert in that and also a veteran. So may I request her to sum up today's evening. Over to Puvali.
It's done? Yeah. I think, am I audible? Okay. Good evening, everyone. District Chairman Rina Hussain Mazumdar of District 324, District Chairman Dr. Sheila Ranjan of District 325, District Chairman Anita Ghosh of District 329, Association President Vasudha Ji, Honorary Secretary, Association Secretary Sumita Som, all the DC members, past Association President Prabha Raghunandan ma'am, past Association President Lalita Seth ma'am, all the guest speakers and Innerville members. First of all, congratulations to all the three district chairmen for successful hosting and co-hosting of this multi-district webinar Ranajai, addressing some of the most relevant and important issues of today's time, COVID-19 impacts and implications. The webinar, aptly named Ranajai, meaning victorious, implies both our victory over last year of pandemic-stricken world. We did not allow the pandemic to dampen our spirit, and by keeping ourselves engaged in various activities, taking care of our health and that of our family, adjusting to the new normal world and continuing with our service to society as Innerville member, we came out victorious, which needs to be celebrated And at the same time, it also implies, and how can we come out victorious of this pandemic in future, as we have the fear of the third wave coming. Coordinator Anmona Bora rightly said, it is the one who learns adaptable to change survives. We are trying to survive and to be victorious. This webinar graced by Honorable A.P. Vasudha ma'am was a unique one with the presence of three district chairmen wearing their collar in the same meeting, giving welcome address, and District Chairman 325 of 329 introducing their team presented the brief activity of their district. Today, our three renowned guest speakers deliberated on three important topics of concern, which was very enlightening and insightful. Now to summarize it, first of all, salute to all the women. COVID-19 pandemic has thrown a huge challenge to the entire human race, leading to dramatic loss of human life worldwide and presented an unprecedented challenge to human being. Its impact has caused devastating disruption in social, economic, personal life, affecting all sections and age group of people across the globe. But now is the time for global solidarity and support, particularly with the most vulnerable in society, women and children, especially in developing countries. Our experience in the last 1 year showed that only together we can win victory over this intervened health, social, economic impact of the pandemic. Our first speaker, Dr. Sangeeta Datta, while deliberating on the impact of COVID-19, through a psychological lens with special reference to women and children, pointed out how women are the worst affected and what is the way out. She apprised all about what is mental health, mentioned that the prediction of 2020 that there will be a parallel pandemic of mental health has come into reality. She enlightened all about what are the causes of mental distress, the fear of the unknown virus, financial crisis during COVID, living in hostile atmosphere, and watching lot of news and social media are some of the main causes of mental distress. Our speaker, PAP Prabha Raghunandan, while deliberating on the topic of harness of pandemic on women, has presented the true picture of the plight of women, the enormous suffering of a woman and children. By narrating a story of a middle-class family, she beautifully gave how COVID-19 gradually affected the lifestyle of a family, hitting the woman the most. She the woman turns to a full-time worker, a tasker, taking extra load of work, but she could handle it because women are born as multitasker. However, the pandemic did bring a change in the life, a positive change where family members starts realizing that together we can do anything and everything. Our speaker, Dr. Ruchi Gupta, deliberated on impact of COVID-19 in connection with related health and enlightened the audience about the physical aspect of the virus, the active cases, and the precautions that are to be taken, the care that are to be taken in post-COVID period, the different health issues faced by people due to COVID, and the precaution measures to be followed. Some of the important ones which she has pointed out, the post-COVID, the COVID, as she has said, it's a virus, is a good actor, and no one knows where it comes from. It is in disguise, and the post-COVID provision, most importantly, that we must take high protein diet, adequate fluid intake, and breathing exercise must be continued. Slow and gradual return to regular exercise regime is very important. Now, takeaway from today's webinar, we can come out victorious over the challenges thrown to the human race by COVID-19 pandemic is by being positive, follow a regular wellness regime through physical exercise, yoga, meditation, keep ourselves physically, mentally fit, eating healthy diet, stay connected with people, cultivate hobbies, practice gratitude, and be thankful, so that with this we can face head-on the unprecedented challenges. Women who nurtures and women who keeps the bonding together are able to come out of this crisis. We need to show more empathy, compassion, love, and care in human relations, and adapt ourselves to the new normal world. Focus on what we can control. The few one-liner takeaway from today's webinar: ladies, me time, take it. And beauty of a woman are to be seen from her eyes. Be supportive to the female members. We will come out victorious. Thanks to our speakers for the excellent deliberation on the important issues and enlightening us with this. Thank you.
Thank you, Pobali, our district ESO of IWD 324, for beautifully summing up this multi-district webinar on COVID-19 impacts and implications, which we have named as Rananjay. Definitely, we are going to be victorious. Now the time has come to express our note of gratitude. For this, may I request our district vice chairman, Amita Mundra, to go with it.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Honorable District Chairman of Innerville District 3 to 4, Innerville District 3 to 5, and Innerville District 3 to 9, respected Chief Guest, Association President Vasudha Ji Chandrachur, Honorary Association Secretary Sumita Som, District EC of Innerville District 3 to 4, 3 to 5, and 3 to 9, past Association President Dr. Lalita Seth, and PAP Prabha Raghunandan, present here today, distinguished speakers, club executives, our guests, and my dear Innerville friends from District 3 to 5, 3 to 9, and 3 to 4. I consider it a great privilege to propose a vote of thanks to all the dignitaries present here today for this multi-district webinar, Run and Jai, on COVID-19 impact and implications on behalf of all the 3 organizing districts. To start with, allow me to express my gratitude to the chief guest of this evening today. She is an eminent personality amidst us who deserves our gratitude in abundance. She is the person throbbing with joy and service and with a challenging vision in these trying times. She is our very own Association President, Vasudha Ji Chandrachud. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your gracious presence and your thought-provoking address. I would like to express my deep gratitude to our Honorary Association Secretary, Sumita Som, for her presence today in this webinar. COVID-19 has impacted the entire world and brought in unprecedented challenges in every aspect, health, economic, and social. It has caused significant distress around the globe. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation to Dr. Sangeeta Datta for her insight on COVID-19 impact and its impact through a psychological lens with special reference to women and children. Fear, worry, and stress are normal responses to perceived or real threats. So it is normal and understandable that people are experiencing fear, stress, and anxiety in the context of COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us a picture of how this virus has impacted our lives, both physically and mentally, and how to cope with this situation. And very true, ma'am. They say it is the new normal, but this new normal isn't normal at all. Thank you once again. In all that has frayed our nerves since COVID struck, we should not miss a pile-up of reports that indicate this pandemic has been harsher on women. Our hearty thanks to PAP Prabha Raghunandan ji for her wonderful story and her insight on harshness of the pandemic on women. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and bringing into notice where we as women stand in these times. And very rightly said, ma'am, where there is women, there is magic. These unprecedented times, we have brought the global health professionals together to accelerate the research and development process and develop new norms and standards to contain the spread of coronavirus pandemic and help care for those affected. My deep appreciation to Dr. Ruchi Gupta for taking up this topic on impact of COVID-19 in connection with related health issues. Thank you for your beautiful presentation on the do's and don'ts in this pandemic. From the depth of our hearts, we thank our wonderful past association presidents, PAP Dr. Lalita Seth and PAP Prabha Raghunandan ji for their gracious presence today. Our sincere thanks to our wonderful PDCs from Innerville District 3 to 4, 3 to 5, and 3 to 9. It is indeed an honor having the wonderful gems of Innerville in this common virtual platform. Thank you once again for obliging us with your presence. Innerville friends from this Innerville District 3 to 4, 3 to 5, and 3 to 9, and also from other districts who are connected today through this platform and also through YouTube. We feel very happy in extending our heartfelt thanks to each one of you for your active participation. A big thanks and big congratulations to the district chairman of all the three districts, Reena Hussain Mazumdar, Dr. Sheila Ranjan, and Anita Ghosh for using a common platform for apprising this very important topic, COVID-19 impact and implications. The topic chosen is very apt in this current circumstances. My sincere thanks to District EC of Innerville District 3 to 4, 3 to 5, and 3 to 9 for all the support provided. Our hearty thanks to IWC Siliguri Uttara and Diva for their beautiful video presentation. Together we can save lives. Special thanks to incoming President RC Duliajan, Rotarian Sunil Buragohin for his presence today. Thank you so much, sir. A big thank you to PDC Moshpi Chatterjee, Innerville District 3 to 4, District Secretary Rita Jha from Innerville District 3 to 5, and District Chairman Anita Ghosh from 3 to 9 for beautifully introducing our evidence speakers, and for special thanks to Sumita Di, our Honorary Association Secretary, for wonderfully introducing our chief guest. Hearty thanks to Coordinator PDC Dr. Wasima Jahan Ahmed and PDC Anmona Bora for the smooth conduct of this webinar. Sincere thanks to PDC Pubali Datta Bujarwarwa for beautifully summing up the insights of our wonderful speakers. A special thanks to our virtual host for arranging this webinar and for the smooth functioning of the proceedings. Friends, one of the positive impact this COVID-19 has given us is the new sense of appreciation and gratefulness. It has offered a new perspective on everything we have taken granted for so long: our freedom, leisure, connections, work, family, and friends. So let us value these moments and make the most of it. So thank you and have a good night.
Thank you, District Vice Chairman of IWD 324, also the District Chairman-elect, Amita Mundra, for proposing the formal vote of thanks. Now it is time for the national anthem. During the rendition, may I request all present on this platform kindly to keep your right hand over your chest. And may I also request our Zoom host to go for the video.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
Friends, we started at 4:30 p.m. and now it's 7:30 p.m. Almost 3 hours. And at the end of these 3 hours, we can say that we have taken the pledge of becoming victorious. We are to become Rananjay. With these words, and thanking everyone for your gracious presence, myself, Coordinator PDC Anmona, along with Coordinator PDC Dr. Wasima, we take your leave, and I request District Chairman of Innerville District 324 to adjourn this multi-district webinar formally. Rina, are you there?
Yeah, she's there. Unmute yourself.
Rina? Rina? Please adjourn the meeting.
Yes. Thank you, Anmanaba, and thank you all present here today. You all have made the this Rananjay a grand success. Thank you so much. I declare today's multi-district webinar Rananjay as adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Very well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
District Chairman 324, Anmona, Wasima, and cooperating District Chairman.
Thank you, Prabha.
Anita, Sheila, thank you very much for having me. It was a great privilege and pleasure.
It's our pleasure. It's our pleasure.
Nice to hear from you, Prabha.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Anmanaba. Thank you, Wasimaba. Thank you, Puvaliba. Thank you, Amita.
Thank you, Rina.
Huh?
आज से मेरी छुट्टी.
No छुट्टी, no छुट्टी, no छुट्टी.
Thank you, Rina, for giving this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Yes, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure, Wasimaba. And no छुट्टी to Anmanaba. Mona, thank you. Masamidi, thank you. Thank you all.
Thanks to everyone. Thanks to everyone.
Thanks to everyone. Yes, yes. Thanks to everyone.
Thank
And
you.
we have to leave now. Exactly 7:30 as them. Yes.
Exactly 7:30.
Thank you. Thank you, host.
So,
Thank you, Zoom host.
Thank you
very
my
much.
Zoom host.
Yes, thank you very
everyone.
much. You have finished.
It was a smooth conduct. Smooth conduct.
Yes,
Fine.
yes, very nice,
For the
very nice.
Zoom
Thank
host.
you.
Nice.
Yes, thank you.
Where is he? No response from him?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you. Very nicely.
Please let me know when I should end the meeting.
Yeah.
Yes.
You may end it now.
Yes,
It's almost
you
over.
ended.
Yeah.
Almost over. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Once again.